settle your tax problem and may even reduce what you owe by up to 99%. Call the hotline at Tax Help USA to see if you qualify and receive your free tax assessment by dialing 800-341-3137. If you or your business owe back taxes to the IRS or state, you can now get the help that you need during these hard economic times. Get your free tax assessment to see what you qualify for by dialing 800-341-3137. 800-341-3137. That's 800-341-3137.
Hey, it's Rich Zioli. I love a great burger. A juicy burger from Omaha Steaks. There's nothing better, and Omaha Steaks is rewriting the book on burgers with an all-new handmade texture for the juiciest homestyle burgers you've ever tasted. Their pure ground burgers are made from single cuts of real-aged Omaha steaks. They are truly steaks on a bun. Filet mignon, ribeye, New York strip, sirloin, and even brisket burgers. And now is the time to experience the exclusive Burger Perfection Flight. Go to omahasteaks.com, use promo code Zioli at checkout to get an extra $20 off orders of $129 or more plus free shipping. Order today so you can try each pure ground burger and sample all the steak on a bun greatness. These burgers are crafted for a juicier, more tender experience. Your mouth will water with every single juicy Burger Perfection bite. Don't wait. Go to omahasteaks.com. Use promo code Zioli at checkout. Get an extra $20 off orders of $129 or more. Discover your new burger obsession. Minimum order may be required.
King Shooter Supply, a full-service gun store, licensed FFL, buy, sell, trade, all sorts of accessories, and indoor range and training center is open in King of Prussia with lessons and classes for all shooters, such as parent and child gun safety and range time, weekly cleaning classes, and pistol red dot. Check out all the offerings. Membership options include law enforcement, military, first responder, and seniors. Stop in to see King Shooter Supply, 346 East Church Road in King of Prussia, or find them on Facebook, kingshooters.com. Now open Sundays too, noon till 6.
Hi, I'm Mark Luca, president of Aqua Pennsylvania. Aqua wants to help you avoid costly and unsafe sewer backups. Don't flush disinfectant or other hygiene wipes down the toilet. Even flushable wipes can cause backups in household plumbing and larger blockages in wastewater collection systems. Dispose of all wipes in the trash instead. Also, don't flush tissues, napkins, or paper towels, which can also contribute to clogs in pipes. Aqua Pennsylvania, an Essential Utilities company.
WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Live and local from Philadelphia. Free speech lives here. It's Kayal Company on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
And away we go, live on a Tuesday morning. It is indeed Kayal Company here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. We are always streaming live on the free Odyssey app and streaming live for your video viewing pleasure on YouTube as we head until 10 o'clock this morning. 855-839-1210, the phone number, Twitter and Instagram at 1210 WPHT. I am on Twitter at Nick Kayal, Kayal. We've got Mary Taylor in for Dawn Stensland again this morning. Greg Stocker is the chairman of the board. Daniel Valdez, Anthony Dorenzo, our associate producers. Villanova elitist Mary Walter, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. How are you this morning?
We are doing well. Loved working with you yesterday. You didn't have to leave us 25 minutes early, but I get it. Sometimes some people can only deal with me for 3.5 hours. I got you.
Don't think it was not noticed that it all worked for Mike Opelka, okay?
Ah.
Yeah. That is all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
I noticed.
Uh-huh.
It's okay.
I got you.
A cheap little temple shot there, but all right.
I like it. I see it. Greg Stocker, how are you, sir?
Oh, I love this Temple-Villanova war.
It is
Come
a war.
on, let's go.
Speaking of wars.
Yeah.
Not that these will escalate to the levels of Russia, Ukraine, but the microphone situation with Zioli,
yeah, it's
starting to wear a little thin.
It is.
I don't know how many mic stands you can break on a, I don't know, semi-regular basis.
And by the way, he's in studio, 3 days a week?
Just let him do remote shows from now on from his garage 5 days a week. He'll be like Joe Biden. He'll just campaign from the basement.
Yeah, I know. It's he breaks them every time he's in here.
Well, he moves them around worse than you do, and then he stands up, and then he's like 14 feet away from the microphone, which might make sense because he's got a very very strong, loud voice. It carries.
Yeah.
And our mic flag is missing again this morning.
Oh, man.
Yeah, from a branding standpoint, I feel a little naked, I got to tell you. Just saying.
Mary, you're here to restore order in the force.
That's right.
I will say, though, Greg, you do have this thing about playing with the mic stand. You do move it all over the place. It's like you're Fred Astaire and that's Ginger Rogers.
Yeah, I'm. It's like a crutch. I have a lot of crutches in radio, and that is one of them.
I do too.
I don't know how to. I just like moving it because I'm never happy with where it is or comfortable with where it is. So,
but at least you're at least sitting though in your chair.
Yeah.
It's good for consistency of projection and sound, and so it makes for better radio when you move it all over the place.
Yeah, Zioli's standing, he's swinging it around. We got to get him medicated.
Yeah.
You think Moderna and Pfizer could come up with a little concoction for him?
By the way, you can see all these hijinks because we're streaming live right now on YouTube. YouTube.com/@1210 WPHT.
Exactly right.
Hit the subscribe button. We're at 2,700.
How about that?
Now.
All right.
So our goal of 3,000 by the end of the week, it's going to happen, guys.
Kaboom.
It's going to happen.
I like it. All right, so much to get to this morning. We have a big take around Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis. Also, Joe Biden's mental sharpness, or lack thereof, called into question. April beer figures are in. Text messages with Tucker Carlson are out. And a Major League Baseball broadcaster drops one of the no-nos in society live on a telecast, and now people are calling for his job, his career, his reputation be damned. We know that the left will attempt to end you if you say one word they do not like. All of that and more as we continue this morning, but time for the first installment of Kayal Company News Live, and we are brought to you this morning by American Heritage Credit Union, the place for first-time home buyers with in-house realtors and a $500 lender credit for new homeowners. Visit AmericanHeritageCU.org/FTH for details. Loans subject to credit approval, insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 433838. So we begin this morning in the news with a prison escapee identified as man accused in 4 Philadelphia murders. This courtesy of Fox 29. One of 2 prisoners who officials say escaped a Philadelphia correctional facility. So I'm surprised they actually put people in correctional facilities in the city anymore. But he apparently snuck out through a hole in a perimeter fence, is accused of killing 4 people in 3 different shootings. Amin Hurst, 18, escaped from the Curran Fromhold Correctional Facility with 28-year-old Nasir Grant on Sunday night. That according to a release from the city's prison department. Hurst and Grant escaped the prison grounds through a hole that was cut in a fence surrounding a recreation yard. This sounds like something you would draw up in a Hollywood movie script with this type of prison escape. Also in the news, courtesy of NBC 10, workers reaching agreement with Liberty Coca-Cola ending a strike. We apparently had a 3-week strike against Liberty Coca-Cola's North Philadelphia facility, and that has ended after the union and soft drink distributor agreed to a new 5-year contract, both sides announcing yesterday. A representative from Teamsters Local 830, which represents more than 3,000 drivers, warehouse production workers, and sales and marketing personnel, said that the new contract includes significant wage increases with an improved health care plan for the 414 union workers that went on strike in April. Some national headlines, Governor Abbott in Texas taking action to secure the U.S.-Mexico border ahead of the Title 42 expiration, with more to come. In a video shared to Twitter late on Monday night, the Republican governor showed that border officials in Brownsville, Texas, laid barbed wiring across a gap in the border that was previously exposed for migrants seeking entry from Mexico into the United States, saying this is one thing that Texas is doing to secure the border. which might be more than one thing that the Biden administration is actually doing, Abbott wrote. This is the area near Brownsville where migrants were crossing in large numbers a few days ago. You know, Mary, I'm not sure if you saw some of the videos in the last 24 hours, but they've been circulating on television on Fox News, and many people resharing them on social media. I mean, we might see up to 80,000 people at least attempting to get into this country by week's end.
Oh, absolutely. And I saw some statistics last night that they were talking about the number of people who came through Ellis Island versus the number of people who came through, who are coming through the southern border. Mm-hmm. And we're going to bring more people in 8 years through the southern border than we brought in through like 60 years through Ellis Island. Close to more. It's ridiculous. It's disgusting. It's a shame. And what is happening in this country, because they're never going back.
Mm-hmm. Nope.
Never leaving.
Nope. And can we even find them once they enter? Yep. And they move all over the country. And then it's just a total guessing game. It basically turns into where's Waldo? Yep. And we don't know where Waldo is. Sports and weather for the news here on Kayal Company News Live. Big one tonight. They call it a pivotal Game 5 when the series is even at 2 games apiece. And that's exactly what we have with our Philadelphia 76ers as they travel to Boston tonight for a 7:30 tip. And then the Phillies and the Blue Jays, they take on a new series tonight with a 6:40 first pitch right here at Citizens Bank Park in South Philadelphia. Philly weather currently 58 degrees. Slight chance of some rain today, less than a 20% chance. It's going to warm up to about 71 this afternoon, and it'll get warmer as we continue and drier for the rest of the week. It looks like Friday, Saturday into Sunday, we could be tipping 80 degrees for the weekend, which is very nice. Yeah, Mike Opelka will be playing some golf, I would imagine.
Nice Mother's Day weekend for everybody.
That's right. Today's a big day, by the way. I got to make the Mother's Day purchases.
Oh, you haven't done it yet?
I know, today's the day.
Nick.
5 days, plenty of time.
No.
Valentine's Day, I did it the day of.
Mary.
This is 5 days premature.
Mary, Valentine's Day, he bought his wife and girls flowers the day of. And only because Dawn guilted him into it.
Correct.
Yeah, are you the guy who also shops in the gas station for Christmas presents on Christmas Eve? Is that you too?
Hey, if there's a good gift card to be had, I'll find it.
Look, honey, I got you the Pocket Fisherman.
Ooh. Hey, honey, a $25 gas card. Who takes care of you? Daddy does.
Spend that all in one place.
That's right. Let's be cautious with that. Spend that in the right ways. All right, so that'll do it for Kayal and Company News Live here on a Tuesday morning. All right, 6:12. Let's get the second big take of the week.
The Big Take on Kayal and Company.
All right, big take this morning. We've got juicy gossip within the GOP. 32 years ago, Bonnie Raitt released a hit song, and it was called Let's Give Them Something to Talk About. And that is exactly what the Republican Party is doing right now. Over the last few days, there has been an avalanche of new data as well as leaked audio when it comes to Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis. According to Rasmussen reports, these two uber-aggressive Republicans would be better off together, as data tells us that a Trump and DeSantis ticket would beat a Biden-Harris ticket in 2024. A new national telephone and online survey by Rasmussen Reports and Political Media Inc. finds that in a matchup against Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris, that 51% of likely U.S. voters would vote for a Trump-DeSantis ticket compared to just 43% for Biden and Harris. Trump's 8-point advantage with DeSantis as his running mate is outside the margin of error. In a head-to-head matchup without consideration of vice presidential candidates, Trump is below 50% and leads Biden by 6 points, 47% to 41%. A Trump-DeSantis ticket wins with women, with independents, with Hispanics, and college grads, and also does historically well with African Americans, said Larry Ward, president of Political Media Inc. Trump-DeSantis also wins the national popular vote, which would be a first for Republicans in 20 years. Trump does well head-to-head against Biden, but adding DeSantis to the ticket is powerful, says Larry. Now, if true, the question then becomes this. Would Trump change his primary residency to New York, which would free up the possibility of a Trump-DeSantis ticket to be permitted? And could these two set aside their egos? If they could do that, it would appear to be the final nail in the coffin for the Biden-Harris administration. But we've been misled before with polls. The survey of 1,050 U.S. likely voters was conducted on April 27th through May 2nd by Rasmussen Reports. And with DeSantis as his running mate against Biden and Harris in 2024, Trump would get 87% of support from Republicans, 15% from Democrats, and 54% of voters unaffiliated with either major party. The addition of DeSantis adds 4 points to Trump's support amongst Republicans and 5 points amongst unaffiliated voters as compared to his results in a pairing against Biden without the mention of running mates. Now, another important poll tells us the following, and we briefly discussed this yesterday. President Joe Biden has seen a dramatic fall in support amongst black voters, according to a new poll. An ABC News Washington Post poll found that just 52% of black respondents approved of Joe's performance as president, down from 82% when he took office in 2021. The 30-point drop in support is the lowest of Biden's presidency and comes as he prepares for re-election. Now, I highly doubt that this Trump-DeSantis marriage will happen, and you'll see and hear why shortly. And that gets us to a leaked video to ABC News dating back to the year 2018 with Ron DeSantis and Matt Gaetz. Now, this video is of Ron DeSantis alongside Matt Gaetz and some of Ron's top aides as he was prepping for debates and the fear of ticking off Trump voters. Take a listen. Here's the audio of Ron DeSantis talking about just that 5 years ago. Listen.
Has the NRA donated to me? I don't think the NRA is quite the boogeyman the Democrats think it is.
This morning, new video obtained exclusively by ABC News shows Florida Governor Ron DeSantis in debate prep sessions when he first ran for governor 5 years ago.
Do we hit him on guns, or just everyone who cares about guns is going to vote for me?
The candid moments from 2018 come as sources say DeSantis' team is already prepping for the 2024 presidential debates. DeSantis would need to win over Trump voters, an issue he grappled with in the past as he ran for governor.
Is there any issue upon which you disagree with President Trump?
Obviously there is, because I voted contrary to him in the Congress.
The past internal recordings offering a rare glimpse into how DeSantis has previously wrestled with how to appeal to Trump's loyal base.
I have to frame it in a way that's not going to piss off all his voters. So what I do is I do what I think is right. I support his agenda in terms of what he's been able to do. If I have a disagreement, I talk to him in private.
Florida lawmakers Matt Gaetz and Byron Donalds helping DeSantis then, but have since endorsed Trump's third White House bid. In the video, aides coaching DeSantis on a range of topics, including how to be likable.
I think when you walk up there, if you have a pad, you have to write in all caps at the top of the pad, likable. And just look, I do the same thing because I have the same personality. We're both aggressive.
And sources tell ABC News DeSantis is leaning towards skipping the launch of an exploratory committee and instead likely jumping into the 2024 race as soon as next month.
The question now becomes, did someone leak that to deliver a blow to DeSantis, or was that intentionally leaked by the DeSantis camp to maybe gauge the waters of his perceived fear? That being alienating the Trump base. Either way, Matt Gaetz, Florida Republican congressman, is not happy. Sunday, Gaetz tweeted the following: I ran the DeSantis debate prep in 2018. Though I prefer Trump for president bigly, the release of these videos by the person operating the camera is disloyal hackery that I do not abide. Staffers who leak on the candidates they've done work for deserve the reputations they earn. One follower of Gaetz has said, I don't see anything wrong with what DeSantis said. Gaetz responded, he didn't say anything wrong, still doesn't make this leak honorable. The timing of the leak is certainly interesting, as many expect DeSantis to make his official intentions known either just before Memorial Day or right after in early June. And then the last wrinkle in this juicy GOP gossip is now what's going to be the key message? Because on Kayal Company, what we have said after the failed red wave of the 2022 midterms, take polls with a grain of salt and messaging matters. which gets us to messaging. How hard do you fight the culture war, and do you do so at the expense of the real economic issues plaguing everyday Americans? This excerpt from the Washington Examiner highlights what could very well be a make-or-break blueprint for Republicans in 2024. Former President Donald Trump and those in his orbit are so obsessively focused on stroking his ego that they are now calling on conservatives to surrender cultural fights to the Democratic Party and its liberal activists. The Examiner goes on to say the following and continues, Kari Lake, the Arizona gubernatorial loser who wants to either lose a Senate race or be Trump's running mate, is the latest to call for Republicans to stand down. Lake's War Room account tweeted that, quote, no one is saying not to fight the culture war, but it's simply not the most critical issue heading into 2024. Following that up with, quote, we simply prioritize other things. And as much as you need to fight back against the woke culture wars, you will win even more people over if you fight to put money back into their pockets of your everyday Americans and those who vote for you. And also, I'm not really sure why we're giving any or getting any advice from Kari Lake, who, by the way, is not wrong here. I actually think she's right. She's just never served in office. So at this point, she's not really relevant to the 2024 political landscape, at least for the GOP primary, in my opinion. The GOP has so many options, so many possibilities, a far better bench than the Democrats, and much younger up-and-coming politicians on their side of the ledger. The Democrats are old. We've seen that. They're old and they're not coherent. But right now, at this very moment, it looks like the same issues are rearing their ugly heads. Party infighting, a lack of a blueprint with messaging, and maybe the biggest question of all, is DeSantis better off joining forces with Trump or taking on the elephant in the room? Or maybe just sitting it out entirely until 2028. Is it worth the wait? Well, the time for waiting is almost over, and that's the big take.
The Big Take on Kayal Company.
All right, big take this morning, 855-839-1210. If you want to jump in on the conversation, 855-839-1210. We will get Mary's thoughts on the other side and then also get Greg's thoughts as well as to how this could play out with DeSantis and Trump on a ticket. Would it be a lock that they beat Biden and Harris? We'll get into that when we come back. Your thoughts as well, 855-839-1210. Kayal Company just underway. It's a Tuesday morning. Nick Kayal, Greg Stocker, Mary Walter here on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Are you tired of paying too much? Rescue Natural Supplements are rolling back prices to 2013 on top of Memorial savings all month long. That's right. For the entire month of May, you can buy 2 products, get 1 free, or buy 3 products and get 2 free on every single Rescue supplement. Combine decade-old rolled back prices with free bottles for huge savings. Stock up on all your favorites. 1250 Omegas, cholesterol supporters, probiotic, and brand new health gummies are all on sale. To order, call 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483. Speak to a Rescue product consultant or shop online, res-q.com, res-q.com. Don't miss out on this opportunity to save big. Rescue is over 50 products to target your health goals, and everything is on sale. Rolled back prices and memorial deals start now and last through the end of the month. So go shop res-q.com today. That's res-q.com.
Hey, Joe DeCamera here. Treat your car well, and it'll reward you with a long life. Do it in the most cost-efficient way possible, designed to save you money. That's with United Tire. Their highly skilled technicians work on all makes and models and work around your busy schedule. When you come in, you'll see the friendly faces that you know and trust. Whether you're planning a spring road trip or just commuting to work, make sure you're driving on tires you can count on. So stop into United Tire to make the most of your spring driving season, or make an appointment today at UnitedTire.com. Don't drive alone. Drive United.
Growing a business brings pressure. It's not easy to maintain momentum and still keep employees engaged. Fortunately, there's Insperity. Their scalable HR solutions help me with hiring, training, HR administration, and compliance while giving my employees competitive benefit options. When my people are able to thrive, my business can adapt and prosper. With Insperity, nothing seems impossible. Insperity, HR that makes a difference.
need to know. Depend on KYW News Radio 1039 FM.
Police are searching for 2 prisoners who escaped a Philadelphia jail Sunday night. A political canvasser for a nonprofit that endorsed Helen Gim for mayor shot and killed another worker while going door to door. And President Biden is planning to meet with congressional leaders today to talk about the debt ceiling.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
Hey, it's Rich. It's only 40 days up to 40 pounds. Just say it with me. 40 days up to 40 pounds. The warmer weather is here. It's time to shed that winter fat and be slimmer before summer. Stop covering up with oversized sweatshirts and contact NJ Diet. They will contractually guarantee you'll lose 20 to 40 plus pounds in only 40 days. They use your hair, saliva, and blood work, along with bioenergetic scans to personalize natural solutions and supplements that get your body into the fat-burning zone, so you can finally lose that weight. Then NJ Diet uses DNA info to help you keep it off. The best part, it's contractually guaranteed. You're fully supervised the entire time to make sure you're burning fat and not just losing water. You even get the doctor's personal email and phone number. So what are you waiting for? Book your consultation today by calling 855-5NJ-DIET or going to njdiet.com. Lose 20 to 40 plus pounds in just 40 days. NJDiet.com.
How would you like to have Joel Embiid, Charles Barkley, and Chip Snapper at your next event? Hire Joe Conklin, the man of 1,000 voices for corporate events and private parties.
We hired Joe Conklin, a comedian. The guy's fantastic.
We hired Joe for our sales meeting, and he was hilarious. He had everyone from our top management down to the pianos cracking up laughing.
We hired Joe Conklin, so we did not stop laughing for the whole show.
Hire Joe Conklin now for corporate events and private parties. Go to joeconklin.com.
The roar of our engines, the pump of our heartbeats, the pedal to our metal, the sparks that ignite us, the pistons that push us, the passions that drive us. From the feelings that move us to the places that pull us on the roads that unite us. With nearly 6,000 stores and over 17,000 auto care centers, Napa has America's largest network of parts and care, here to keep you firing on all cylinders.
Medical hydration therapy, pain management, and more. We'll talk about it on Health Watch with Dr. Molly Fantasia every Sunday morning at 8 here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
For a complete list of Talk Radio 1210 WPHT's contest rules, go to 1210WPHT.com/rules.
Tune in to Crash Proof Retirement Show, Saturdays at 11 a.m. to hear Phil Cannella and Joanne Small. The Crash Proof Retirement Show, Saturday mornings at 11 on Talk Radio 1210.
Calling on Blackwood to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Oh, yeah, 628, Kayal Company off and running here on a Tuesday morning. Mary Walter in for Dawn today. Dawn will be back tomorrow. Mike Opelka in for Dawn coming up at 10 o'clock this morning. 855-839-1210, the phone number. So let's get some reaction to what we just heard in the big take here this morning. And, Mary, also the other thing that we should discuss, because we were just texting during the break, you, Greg, and myself. Now, this is interesting because I know you have some information here, but I keep going back and forth and being of the belief that Trump and DeSantis cannot be on the same ticket together because they both live in Florida. Then I was under the impression of, well, if somebody changes their primary residency and address, like if Trump would, claim residency in New York, he could do it. And then I'm looking during the break at some of the websites and just Googling these types of things. And I get stuff from May of 2021 from the Sun Sentinel that says a Trump-DeSantis ticket would be unconstitutional. And then I've got other links here to stories that talk about the possibility of it happening. So what do you know, and do you know anything definitively that would say so one way or the other?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
And this is why we were texting back and forth.
Yeah.
So everyone thinks that they can't be from the same state. You can. There is no law or rule that prevents the presidential and vice presidential candidate from being from the same state.
Okay.
So everybody points to Article 2 of the Constitution, which says that they should, the electors, because we have the Electoral College, and so you have people who are appointed from each state to cast the ballots in the Electoral College, their votes in the Electoral College for the candidate they're supposed to from, whoever got the most votes in that state, right? So that's how they cast their votes in the Electoral College, and that's how we ultimately elect a president, and the vice president comes along. Well, back in when the Constitution was written and Article 2 was written, you didn't have parties. So you could have, they did it that whoever got the most votes got the presidency, and whoever got the second most votes got the vice presidency. And that's how they did it. So Article 2 says the electors shall meet in their respective states and vote by ballot for two persons, one of whom one shall not be an inhabitant of the same state as themselves. So you had a bunch of very contentious elections in the end of the 1800s, not going to go into the weeds. And so we wind up with the 12th Amendment, which was adopted in the early 1800s. And that mandated that the electors cast separate ballots for president and vice president, as opposed to just one ballot, right? So one for president, one for vice president. But the rule that preventing an elector from voting for two people from his home state still remained in effect under the new system. So normally that wouldn't matter.
Okay.
But now that we have a party system and you can't vote for the president and vice presidential candidate because you have to cast two ballots now. You can't vote for the same one from the same state. Two people can run from the same state, and most elections, it would never have mattered. It would never have mattered in Barack Obama's two runs. It would have mattered with Clinton. It wouldn't have mattered with George H.W. Bush or Ronald Reagan. So we didn't have that. But now when elections get really close, you could lose an election if you're both from the same state because, for instance, Florida, the electors couldn't vote for both Trump and DeSantis because they're from the same state.
Okay.
So it goes back to the Electoral College. Bush-Cheney it came very close because they won with 271 electoral votes. They only had a 5-point margin over Gore and Lieberman, and they would have lost Texas's 32 votes, and then Gore-Lieberman would have won.
So is this why it makes more sense for a Nikki Haley or a Tim Scott to be on the ticket as opposed to DeSantis?
It does.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Because if it's too close, I mean, you're gambling. Trump's a gambler, but you're gambling. I personally would love to see a Trump-DeSantis ticket. I think it would be fantastic. I think if DeSantis waits 4 years, it may be too late. Especially if, Biden wins again, who knows where we're going to be. But so just to clear it up, there is no law that prevents it. It just may not be the smartest thing to do.
All right, that is the best breakdown I have heard on this tricky, sticky situation.
Thank you.
Mary already has won the day at 6:33 a.m. So now that we know from a legal standpoint that this can happen, and I know you think it would be a very good combination, does it make sense for DeSantis to do this? Or is the time now, because you mentioned if he waits until 2028, it could be very much over. Early on when we launched this show in October, DeSantis going into midterms, he blows out the competition. He wins Miami-Dade County by the largest margin since Jeb Bush in 2002. But for the last 6 to 8, 10 weeks, DeSantis seems like he's kind of cooled off a little bit. Is now the time for him to join with Trump? Or does it make more sense for him to challenge Trump in your estimation?
Me?
Yeah.
Well,
if you were advising Ron right now.
If I'm advising Ron right now, I'm sure he's already had conversations with Trump. This whole animus thing and these commercials that are running that Ron DeSantis is going to be going for president. We all know that's games. It's all the primary stuff. Trump fights to win. I'm sure DeSantis does too. Trump's a gambler. If Trump thinks he can win this, even if they're both from the same state, I think he would do it. I think there may be some legal implications with pending cases in New York as to why Trump would not want to reestablish New York residency.
Right.
I don't know. I think it's a dream ticket, but I'm sure DeSantis has been discussing this with Trump, and so I'm pretty sure the decision is probably already made.
All right, if you guys want to jump in, 855-839-1210 is the phone number. Let's stay on Trump for a couple of minutes here. a handful of stories that I want to get into, and we can have some conversation with this. Tomorrow's going to be the big night, CNN town hall type situation, Donald Trump, Caitlin Collins. And I was a little bit surprised to see, although I know that CNN certainly claims that they're trying to, slide back to the center a little bit. CEO Chris Licht with a different vision from his predecessor. But amidst the backlash that CNN is getting for having the Trump town hall, Discovery and Warner Brothers chief David Zaslav has weighed in on CNN's, quote, controversial decision to host a live town hall format with former President Donald Trump, defending the decision as needing to represent, quote, both sides. Zaslav goes on to say, quote, the U.S. has a divided government. We need to hear both voices. When we do politics, we need to represent both sides. I think it's important for America. Zaslav continues about Trump saying, quote, he's the front runner. He has to be on our network. We're happy he's coming on there. This is a new CNN, Zaslav said. I'm proud of CNN. We're on a great journey, and this country needs it. That's a pretty strong statement from the past where CNN's been.
Why is this even an issue? Of course they should do this.
I know.
Of course he's going to be the nominee.
Yeah. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Now, he hasn't been on the network in, 6.5 years, I believe? Was it late 2016, the last time that he was on that network? And we've seen what has happened to CNN.
Yeah.
Trump leaves office, CNN's ratings tank. And I also think, too, by the way, that they were going in the wrong direction even while he was still in office. Because initially, for the left or the Democrat that wants to tune into CNN during the Trump administration, it was cool, it was fun. They were playing whack-a-mole. They were bashing Trump every single day. But even amongst the supporters of CNN or Democrats, they got to the point, because my mother-in-law was one of them, and she was like, I can't take it every single night. It's like a repeat. It's like a rerun episode of a sitcom where they just keep hammering the guy left and right, and she hates Trump's guts. So I understand why CNN lost its audience, and I certainly understand why Zaslav is saying, you know what, no, this guy's the top guy on the other side of the spectrum. He needs to be on our stinking network. Your thoughts?
Well, I love when CNN occasionally stumbles into journalism,
or programming decisions.
Yeah, that's always fun. They have to. Look, they have to. Their ratings are tanking. We all know it. Look, they've made some changes. They finally got rid of Don Lemon. They had to get rid of him. I think Caitlin Collins is a poor choice to conduct this interview, this interview debate, whatever it happens to form it's going to take. I think she's a poor choice. I don't think she can handle Trump.
All right, so who do you guys go with then? Who's the alternative?
At CNN?
Tapper?
Yeah, maybe Jake Tapper might be
Wolf
better.
Blitzer.
I think he's more. Yeah, Wolf Blitzer. Yes, I like Wolf Blitzer, Greg. I think that's a good one. Well, they're more seasoned.
They really love Caitlin Collins, so maybe they're throwing the new it girl a bone here, right? Like put her in the spotlight.
It's interesting because the media went after her because of her past with the Daily Caller. She used to write for a conservative website. So the media went after her and screen grabbed some stuff that she had written or said and said, see, this is see, they're propping Trump up. See.
But I mean, think about the argument these people are making. They're arguing for fascism. They're arguing for censoring anyone who has a different opinion or someone from who's a political party that you don't agree with.
Right.
And then they would turn around and call you fascist. But because they don't understand what fascism is. It's like everybody's a Nazi.
Yeah.
But this is actually good for CNN. I'm willing to bet that their ratings are going to be the best that they've seen probably in months at CNN because of this. The only mistake they're making, like I said, I feel badly for Caitlin Collins. I remember her from Daily Caller. She just doesn't have, I don't think, the experience yet to be able to handle especially Trump, who they're just throwing her into the lion's cage. So I don't know how smart this is.
By the way, how did the Newsmax hit go yesterday? Everything good?
Oh, yeah, good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Do you want to talk about, you want to give us a recap?
Every Monday between 4:30 and 5 o'clock.
Okay, there you go. 855-839-1210, the number. Speaking of Trump, how about the audacity of Bill Barr? How about this headline? Bill Barr this past weekend warning of, quote, chaos and a horror show if Donald Trump is reelected. You know, this is, I'm going to give you my thought on this in a moment, but let me just give you the two quotes that he gave. This is former Attorney General Bill Barr, who issued a stern warning about the possibility of his ex-boss being returned to the White House, saying, quote, "It's a horror show. You know, when he's left to his own devices," Barr told the City Club of Cleveland in Ohio on Friday. This according to Fox News and the New York Post. Quote, "If you believe in his policies, what he's advertising is his policies. He's the last person who could actually execute them and achieve them." Quote, "He does not have the ability for strategic thinking and linear thinking or setting priorities or how to get things done in the system. He will deliver chaos. And if anything led to a backlash that will set his policies much further back than they otherwise would be." So I got to rip Bill Barr here. So chaos and a horror show. You know, it's interesting he wants to use those two phrases and those two words, because that's kind of how I would describe the Biden administration right now. You know, everything that we were told, Mary, about Trump. Oh, my God, this guy, he's a threat to global security. He's got the nuclear launch codes. This guy could initiate World War III, and on down the list of everything they claimed that Trump was in danger of being or becoming, we've actually seen come to fruition under Joe Biden's watch, right? Like, isn't that amazing?
They always accuse you of doing exactly what they're doing.
Yes.
Right? It's like when you find your husband in bed with another woman and he goes, "No, I wasn't sleeping with her."
No. It was just an act. I don't know how I got here. I got drugged.
Yeah, and you're cheating on me.
Yeah.
That's what they do. So here's to Bill Barr, I will say that Bill Barr is right in the sense that Trump is not a linear thinker.
Okay.
He is very circular, but he's crazy smart. Trump is a crazy smart man. If you ever have a discussion with him, especially if it's like a group discussion, he gets everyone's thoughts. He'll pick your brains, and he goes around and he picks the brains, and then he goes off on something else, and he's all over the place, and then he comes back to something that somebody else said, and he goes, "Hey, you just said," so when you think like he's totally gone off and is not paying attention and is scattered and is all over the place, he's really not.
Yep.
It's an incredible process to watch that happen. And I do think that Trump is, 3 steps ahead of everybody else. He has this incredible ability to see how things will play out down the road. And that's why he's such a fantastic negotiator, because he has that ability. So what seems like chaos to other people is just Trump's way of doing things. As far as not being able to get things done, well, that's because the swamp stopped him from doing everything he wanted to do.
Correct. It's not like he's got free reign a la carte where he can just go in and say, "I'm going to change." Like, there's a lot of times there's a resistance or a pushback to get some of your agenda accomplished, and God knows that guy's been stonewalled 5 ways to Sunday on many different things, right?
Absolutely. And not only that, but they actively worked to stop things from being accomplished. And all of those people are still walking free and collecting their pensions. I would like that noted. Was Trump, I think, naive when he went in and thought that people would do their duty and be impartial and do what they were supposed to do? Yes, I do. Do I think he should have fired some people that he didn't fire? Yes, I do. But again, all of that's hindsight is 2020, and I don't think Trump realized what he was up against and how deep it went at the time. And I can't blame him for that, because I didn't. I don't know. I don't think anybody knew what today. If we had known then what we know now, I think it would have been a totally different ballgame.
Totally agree. And then lastly, on the Donald Trump front, I'm not sure if you've paid attention to the battle in the world of the sport of golf between the PGA Tour and LIV. But now, as if the investigations aren't nonsensical enough, LIV Golf ties to President Trump is now under investigation by the DOJ. So the DOJ is stepping in and saying, you know what, and we raid Mar-a-Lago, we've got this investigate, you got Alvin Bragg, on down the list, all coincidentally enough, after Trump says, you know what, I'm running for re-election for a third term, and I'm going to try to get back in 2024. Now they are apparently investigating his relationship with LIV Golf, which is backed by Saudi Arabia, and, obviously a very corrupt, brutal regime in Saudi Arabia. And my biggest issue with all of this has been the fact that the PGA Tour does business with China. They do business with Mexico. They were just in Mexico 2 or 3 weeks ago for a PGA Tour event over the weekend from Thursday through Sunday. Sports leagues deal with corrupt governments and foreign nations all the time because they do what's best for their bottom line to grow their game and for business. And Trump and Liv being backed by, the wealthy Saudi money. And there's all this self-righteousness, Mary, because you remember Jamal Khashoggi, the Washington Post reporter that was murdered in Saudi Arabia. So now apparently the DOJ is looking at paperwork and documents, part of which was from the Mar-a-Lago raid, into the business relationship between Trump and Liv.
This is a classic show me the man and I'll find the crime.
Yeah.
And I'm hearing about this in Saudi Aramco, which is the company that Trump deals with through the Live Golf tournament. So like it's a shadow company that's controlled by the Saudi Arabians. I'm like, have you looked at the guy in the White House?
I know, right?
I'm just curious. When are we going to get around to that?
Uh-huh.
Are we going to talk about that guy?
Yeah.
Like, what did they find in Biden's documents?
Uh-huh.
We still don't know how come.
Yep.
Why were there no photos of those leaked? Of those documents in the garage that Hunter was driving Daddy's car in and out of.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yes, but it's the weaponization of the government, which is what you have, which is what you have under a totalitarian government. That's what we have.
Yeah.
And by the way, don't we do business with Saudi Arabia?
Yes.
Don't we do business with,
yes.
So
that's a good point.
So to condemn a business or a company for doing business with Saudi Arabia, maybe we should be investigated.
There's dirty money everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, this is nothing new. One of the previously unreported subpoenas to the Trump Organization sought records pertaining to Mr. Trump's dealings with a Saudi-backed professional golf venture known as Live Golf, which is holding tournaments at some of Trump's golf resorts, writes the New York Times. It is unclear what bearing Mr. Trump's relationship with Live Golf has on the broader investigation, but it suggests that the prosecutors are examining certain elements of Mr. Trump's family business. What were you just saying? What was the old adage you uttered, Mary?
Show me the man and I'll find the crime.
That's exactly what they're doing here. That's exactly what that statement says.
Exactly what they're doing. And it's legal because it's Trump. And to Greg's point about, well, don't we do this as well? Yes, but it's okay because it's our corruption, not his.
That's correct.
Our corruption's perfectly okay.
Yes, no doubt. 855-839 if you would like to jump in. Coming up next, Joe Biden's mental sharpness is in doubt, and that's the latest. We'll give you some of the specifics. On the other side, it's Kayal Company live here on this Tuesday morning. Nick, Greg, Mary, and we're back after this. But right now, a word from my friends at the Piazza Auto Group. Coming up on 2 weeks inside of the new 2023 Land Rover Defender, courtesy of my friends at the Piazza Auto Group. They have taken great care of me since early February. So many different vehicles. Final decision coming up in June. Who knows? Maybe I'll pick the vehicle the same time Ron DeSantis makes his decision. But right now, I'm in the eye-popping Fuji white color, and the Land Rover Defender, it's got a reputation for being rugged with go-anywhere utility, making them amongst the world's most capable off-road vehicles on the market today. It's an iconic model, and now I understand what all the hype is about, and you can do the same thing today. Check out the Defender, available as a two-door Defender 90, which is the one I have, or how about the four-door Defender 110, or if you need all the space, the 8-passenger Defender 130. And the Defender 130 is perfect for all-terrain family expeditions with up to 8 people on board in superior comfort. Visit Land Rover of Westchester, Willow Grove, or Wilmington today, or you can shop online right now, PiazzaPremiumAutos.com.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Do you want a beautiful home that's easy to maintain? I've been telling you about a great company that does just that. John Gilgee is here to tell you in his own words. Take it away, my friend.
Hello, it's John from Rhino Shield, reminding you that spring is here and Rhino Shield is ready to help you paint your home for the last time. Our permanent exterior house paint is not ordinary paint. It's a ceramic house coating that goes on like paint and looks like paint, but is guaranteed for 25 years. If your home's exterior isn't looking as good as you'd like, Rhino Shield is the solution you've been looking for. It's affordable because you only have to paint one last time, and it protects your home with a durable and waterproof coating that goes on any exterior surface. Find out why so many of your neighbors are choosing the permanent paint solution from Rhino Shield by calling to schedule your free estimate today at 844-RHINO-99. That's 844-744-6699.
This is Larry Steinhaus of Investor Schooling. I am so proud to announce the continuing success of our students at Investor Schooling. You already know that at Investor Schooling, we teach real estate investing and stock options. Did you also know that we teach things about tax savings, estate planning, and business coaching as well? We teach things about money I bet you never knew. At Investor Schooling, we teach from the perspective of true experience. If you want to see what our students think about Investor Schooling, please check out the over 160 5-star Google reviews. To find out more about how you can change your financial life, go to investorschooling.com or call 866-424-2829. That's 866-424-2829, and you can attend a complimentary class this Thursday at 7 p.m. Attend that class and see for yourself what Investor Schooling is all about. Go to investorschooling.com or call 866-424-2829. That's 866-424-2829. We can't wait to see you this Thursday.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. I often tell you about my buddy Roy with 2 big stores of batteries plus bulbs, Mount Laurel and Northfield. Here's a review from Matt. This is word by word. Here's what he said. It's a great place to grab any batteries or phone repairs. I work with a fleet of vehicles. This place has had batteries from cars to pickups to heavy-duty tractor batteries. The owner's a nice guy. He's not afraid to come out and give great advice. And if they don't have your battery, typically the next day they can get it. Customer service is the key when you visit them. They power it, they light it, they fix it. Mount Laurel and Northfield, batteries plus bulbs.
Do you have heart failure and often hear,
"Those stomach issues ruined your birthday"?
"You're too tired to play catch, Grandpa."
Sweetie, you haven't touched your tools since the carpal tunnel syndrome diagnosis.
if these seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, talk to your cardiologist. Ask about transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy, or ATTR-CM, a rare and underdiagnosed disease that gets worse over time. Learn more at connecttoyourheart.com. That's connecttoyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Now, local businesses can get closer to every customer in their city with fast, affordable shipping. Introducing USPS Connect Local. You want speed? We deliver same or next day. You want savings? We give you supplies at a flat rate. You want less legwork? We do free pickups. Move your local business forward with the United States Postal Service. Let's connect at USPSConnect.com/local. Specific markets, restrictions apply. Same day or next day delivery expected, but not guaranteed with entry close to final destination.
Drive in with Kayal Company mornings 6 till 10. Drive home with Rich Zioli afternoons 3 till 7. Live and local on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
Always something to say. Kayal Company as we continue. Nick Kayal, Mary Walter. Mary's in for Dawn today. Greg Stocker, Anthony Lorenzo, Daniel Valdez. 855-839-1210. Twitter, Instagram, 1210 WPHT. You can listen to us on the free Odyssey app. You can watch us on YouTube. Mr. Stucker, do we want to make any demands in our push for 3K?
Well, first of all, everybody watching right now, if you're watching on YouTube, youtube.com/@1210WPHT, hit the subscribe button, but also hit the like button.
Yeah.
Hit the like button if you're watching right now. Hit the like button. And if you're watching right now and you're not subscribed, like, why?
Yeah.
Hit the subscribe button.
Do both and do it now.
We're at 2.7. I'd like to get it up to, take it up to 2.71.
Okay.
Can we do that by 7:30?
I like that.
2.71. We're going to hit 3,000.
Mhm.
I believe we will hit 3,000 this week.
And to kind of explain the whole, click on the subscribe and then the like thing with the notification, because we go live, or at least the notification goes off to those that subscribe, like around 6:01.
Yep.
And we don't get on until about 6:02, 6:03. So the camera will still be dark. You'll see like a screen that says show starts soon or something. But you can, when I click on the link, I can tell there's like already like 24 people sitting there with it open already, waiting for the camera to come on.
Well, Minnie on YouTube is saying that it's redirecting her to yesterday's show.
Oh.
And I think the reason for that is I think we posted a clip of yesterday's show, so that's at the top of people's feeds.
Okay.
Not the live thing. So maybe boys in the back, when we're posting, maybe wait till like after the show to post.
Okay. Would make
so
sense.
people, this is the first thing people see in their feeds.
And of course, Mary, there's always people that are never going to be happy. They always ask for more. And what about this? We got one guy saying, "Why aren't you guys doing this live on Rumble yet?"
I know. Everybody.
What do they think? We've got like unlimited resources and staff?
Well, they say because YouTube censors. It does.
It does.
We've said subscribe now.
Yeah.
Watch now because you never know when we're going to be taken off.
But they've yet to censor us for anything that we've said content-wise. It's always just like these music rejoinders.
Yes.
Or like Tom Petty's like, "No, you can't use my song."
Yep.
Yeah.
It was Foreigner. It was Bruce Springsteen. It was who else? Somebody else.
Yeah. So, there you go. All right, Joe Biden. Let's get into this one. His mental sharpness and his physical health are in doubt, and many people in America believe that this guy is clearly not fit to serve. Yet, I still get this unbelievably uncomfortable feeling in my stomach that some of these clowns out there will still vote for him. But more than 6 in 10 Americans, Mary, say that President Joe Biden does not have the mental sharpness or physical health to serve effectively as president. We know he stutters, he stammers, he forgets what he's going to say. He falls walking up steps into Air Force One. And according to a Washington Post ABC News poll, a finding that underscores some of the stark challenges he is confronting at the outset of his campaign for re-election. About 1/3, 33% say Biden is in good enough physical health for the job, while 64% say that about Trump, the leading Republican candidate. Overall, more than 4 in 10 Americans, 43%, say in the poll that both Biden and Trump are too old to serve. And we've had this conversation about, age limits and, what is too old to serve. And I'm not sure where you stand, Mary, but I have been of the belief that I don't believe you should have a number set on this, because I look at Trump and you say, okay, oh my God, the dude's 76. But then I compare him from a mental standpoint to Joe Biden. It's like he's 46. It's not even close. So to me, it should be about whether or not you, on a specific case-by-case basis, pass the eye test. And when I hear and I watch Joe Biden, these poll numbers are very, very reflective of how I think truly Americans feel.
Yeah, I'm with you. I totally agree with you on not having an age limit, because the same people who would argue for an age limit against, Donald Trump would fight to the death to keep RBG on the court forever, right?
Yes.
So I think you can be, I don't care about your physical ability. I care about your brains.
Mm-hmm.
That's what matters to me. And God giveth and God taketh away. Listen, we've had presidents in the past who were physically. Look at John F. Kennedy, right?
Yeah.
He had problems and nobody knew about it and it was kept quiet. But if he could do the job, then I'm okay with that. So physically, I don't care about your physical disabilities. That doesn't really bother me. I wouldn't care if they put one of those little stair lift things up the steps to go to Air Force One. Like one of those things. You could put fun music to it.
Those little infomercials you see with the people going up the steps in their house.
Yes. And to be fair, I have been known to every now and then fall up the stairs too.
Yeah.
So
I've taken my spills as well. I'm awful when it gets bad weather and it gets slick out and there's ice. I've been known to go vertical and have my feet parallel with my head.
I do it just because I don't pay attention. So.
Oh, well.
But all of that being said, going back to what I said before, Donald Trump just has this ability. He has this weird talent to be able to see a couple of steps ahead. I just think Joe Biden mentally, and I don't say this to be funny, but I do think there is dementia going on there. I had a grandfather who battled that.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of the same looks in Joe Biden's eyes, like that blank stare, like no clue.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the same motions physically with him. There's some of the same stiffness. There's some of the same gait that I saw with my grandfather. So I do think that there is dementia going on, and we need to be not make jokes about it, but seriously make that argument. On the right, we have to seriously make that argument, because if he's out, Kamala's in. And I'm shocked Joe's made it this far. I thought for sure he was doing 2 years, and then it was Kamala. That's what I thought was going to happen. But I think they've now realized that she is so incapable, and she won't play the game of letting someone else run the show.
Well, Democrats are so cutthroat that I figured that they would get him to the finish line in his first term. And I think that to kind of point out and illustrate how cutthroat they are, look what they did with John Fetterman. John Fetterman should not be serving in the United States Senate. Whether you look at Fetterman after the stroke, you look at Joe Biden, whether it's dementia or it's just old age right now, Dianne Feinstein, they don't care. Like, they will literally drag you to the finish line. Now, for the second term, God forbid, God willing, I just can't live through another Joe. I can't. There's no way we're going to make it to 2028 at this rate. But even if he does win re-election, my stance has been either he dies in office or he is basically forced out. I can't see this guy getting through another almost 5 years.
Everybody said in 20 whatever it was that he was never going to be the Democratic nominee.
Yeah.
And then he was never going to be the president. And then I just feel like underestimating him is not the best. And I don't mean him. I mean underestimating, because it's not him.
Yeah.
It's the
machine.
Yes. I'm just saying that be wary of the political machine.
But if you look at some of the videos, go back to 2020 when he was campaigning, and even in 2019. Not that he was all with it, at that point, but just do a compare and contrast of where the mental erosion has occurred over the last 3.5 years. He is significantly worse than when he was campaigning from the basement during COVID. So if we just go along with that decline in cognitive ability over 3.5 years, think about where we are right now. It's May 9th. What's he going to sound like in the summer of 25? Or the winter of 27?
Well, they've slowly been hiding him. He's going to campaign from the basement again. There'll be no campaign. It's going to be from the basement. They're going to hide him again, and you're going to see less and less and less of Joe Biden. He does nothing now.
Do you think he can win doing it from the basement again?
Yeah, I do, because sadly enough, there are so many people that are, especially young people, who have been so indoctrinated.
Yeah.
That and they have, I think it's not their fault. I truly believe they have been brainwashed, and they have never been taught how to think rationally and how to reason. They've just been told what to think.
Mm-hmm.
And so for them, it's a religion. If you challenge it, you're challenging their almost like a religious belief with them, and they can't get past it because they don't know how to think. So I do think that with that younger generation being so indoctrinated, they just go in and pull it for the Democrat because Trump's a Nazi.
Yeah, that's what they believe. That's what they really do believe. Sadly, 855-839-1210, the phone number. A big 7 o'clock hour is on the way. We've got news. We've got what's on the cut sheet, Tucker Carlson, and the latest beer figures are in. It's Kayal Company. Hour 2 is on the way on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
At Principal, they understand planning for the future can seem overwhelming and complicated, but working with a financial professional, whether you're close to retirement or just starting out, they can help. It all starts with a conversation to get to know you and learn more about your goals. They're available to review your financial picture, retirement accounts, and 401k. Discuss your goals and weigh your options. And they would love to connect with you today. Call Jim Murray at 610-996-4751 to schedule your personalized consultation. That's 610-996-4751.
Insurance products issued by Principal National Life Insurance Company, except New York. Principal Life Insurance Company securities and advisory products offered through Principal Securities Inc., member SIPC. Principal National, Principal Life, Principal Securities Inc. are members of the Principal Financial Group, Des Moines, Iowa. Jim Murray, Principal National and Principal Life Financial Representative. Principal Securities Registered Representative, Financial Advisor. Jim Murray is not an affiliate of any company of the Principal Financial Group.
Are you tired of dealing with those old, inefficient windows in your house? Maybe it's time to go Guida. How about that drafty, beat-up-looking entry door you've painted over more times than you can count? Well, go Guida. Need added protection from the elements with a new storm door? Go Guida. And what about that sliding patio door or garage door you've been meaning to replace? Go Guida. Whatever your home improvement needs are, I suggest you go Guida with the great people at Guida Door and Window. To help get your project started, Guida is offering 20% off all windows and doors while allowing you to start your project with no money down and up to 3 full years to pay it off interest-free. That's right. Receive 20% instant savings with the luxury of paying off your project interest-free for up to 36 months. Restrictions apply, offers for a limited time, so what are you waiting for? It's time you finally go Guida. Call today. Schedule a free in-home estimate at 1-877-GO-GUIDA or visit them at GoGuida.com. That's go, GUIDA.com.
WPHT, WPHT-HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Are you concerned about your child struggling in school? Do they need more of a challenge? Now's the time to make the call to Kathy Ganna at New Hope Academy in Yardley and Doylestown. 800-300-0003. Let New Hope Academy transform your child's life forever by helping them now. For over 3 decades, New Hope Academy founder Kathy Ganna, a pioneering educator and entrepreneur who created the NHA model, has been utilizing state-of-the-art solutions to uncover ways where your child could avoid struggling and succeed. At New Hope Academy, there's a student-teacher ratio of 2 to 1, allowing for students to deal with many disorders, including high anxiety, social and emotional, and including bipolar. Do not wait. Remember, only the best teachers can work at NHA. Call for that no-obligation tour and consultation. 90% of NHA graduates pursue a college education. Call Kathy today, 800-300-0003. Online, newhopeacademy.net. Call New Hope Academy today, 800-300-0003.
Hi guys, it's Mark. Are you struggling with ED? Did you know that a major medical breakthrough is now available and it isn't a pill? Today, Tuesday, we're running a one-day special you won't want to miss out on. Oak Hills Medical Clinic uses the most powerful form of wave therapy. This is a technology clinically shown to repair blood vessels and improve blood flow. It's backed by 60 clinical studies, including from Cambridge. If you're ready to regain that spark in the bedroom, today is your day. Call us now and you'll qualify for the assessment and ultrasound totally free. You'll also get a gift that can produce rapid and powerful results in the bedroom in minutes. You're going to love that one, guys. Trust me. And today only, we're offering 5 tune-up treatments to our patients free. This is an unprecedented offer worth hundreds of dollars, but call today and qualify totally free. Call 215-302-9999. That's 215-302-9999. Guys, put a stop to your ED and get your life back. Call Oak Hills Medical Clinic now to qualify. This offer ends today. 215-302-9999.
Hey, Cherry Hill. We know your favorite station is WPHT. Tell your smart speaker, play 1210 WPHT.
Kayal Company, as we welcome you back in, 7:06, hour 2, Tuesday morning. Big week. Donald Trump on CNN tomorrow night. Title 42 set to expire on Thursday. And I could see a big take coming on those two coming up on Thursday and Friday. As we continue here, Tuesday morning, 855-839-1210. Nick Kayal, Greg Stocker, Mary Jane, Mary Walter. By the way, was I calling you Mary Walters yesterday with an S on the end?
No, I don't think so. But
Okay.
it came up on the YouTube thing. That Mary Walters.
Okay.
I'm not related to Barbara, but I wish I were.
Right. I mean, I would like to pluralize your last name. Could we go with the S moving forward for the rest of the show, or would that offend you?
It would not offend me. I was in 2nd grade when my parents finally told me that there was no S on it, and I was spelling it wrong all the time.
Okay. All right. Very good. So Mary Walter.
Yeah.
Walter in for Dawn Stenslin this morning. Dawn will be back tomorrow. Opelka in for Dawn coming up at 10 o'clock today.
You could, by the way, you could just call me not Dawn.
Not Dawn?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fine.
All right, we can do that. We can do
lady,
that.
not Dawn.
All right, I like that. Very simple. A couple of things to get to this hour as we work our way towards what's on the cut sheet. Tucker Carlson apparently has some new plans in the works, and also more texts are released. We'll get to that. And then also, I want to get to this Oakland A's baseball announcer. Some audio from this past weekend that got this guy in some hot water, and we'll get to that. That'll be kind of like a hors d'oeuvre to the cut sheet. That's coming up at 7:35 this morning. But let's get through the news. Kayal Company News Live here, 7 o'clock hour. Prison escapee identified as man accused in 4 Philadelphia murders. One of 2 prisoners who officials say escaped a Philadelphia correctional facility through a hole in a perimeter fence is accused of killing 4 people in 3 different shootings. Amin Hurst, 18 years old, escaped the Curran-Fromhold Correctional Facility with 28-year-old Nasir Grant on Sunday night. That according to a release from the city's prison department. Hurst and Grant escaped the prison grounds through a hole that was cut in a fence surrounding a recreation yard. It was the first prison break in Philadelphia's prison system since 2010. Quote, "We have protocols in place, and those protocols were not followed," said Commissioner Blanche Carney, who admitted that the prison fence does not have an alarm to detect a breach. Well, that's good to know. Thank you very much. NBC 10 reporting that workers have reached an agreement with Liberty Coca-Cola ending a strike, a 3-week strike against Liberty Coca-Cola's North Philadelphia facility has ended after the union and soft drink distributor agreed to a new 5-year contract, both sides announcing yesterday. A representative from Teamsters Local 830, which represents more than 3,000 drivers, warehouse production workers, and sales and marketing personnel, said that the new contract includes significant wage increases along with an improved health care plan for the 414 union workers that went on strike in April. Philadelphia, we got some stuff coming up sports-wise in case you might have missed it. Sixers and the Celtics series even 2 games apiece. Game 5 tonight in Boston at 7:30. Meanwhile, the Toronto Blue Jays are in Philadelphia tonight to take on the Phillies. That is a 6:40 first pitch on 94 WIP. Philly weather, it's 59 degrees right now. It's going to go up to about 71 degrees. A small chance for a sprinkle, about 18% chance of rain today. And then it is going to be gorgeous the rest of the week. Temps in the high 70s to low 80s with sunny skies for your Mother's Day weekend. The Kayal Company News Live brought to you by Catholic Philly. You can stay up to date with the latest Catholic news by signing up for Catholic Philly's weekly newsletter. It contains local, national, and world Catholic news, inspiring featured stories, and more each week directly to your email inbox. Visit CatholicPhilly.com to learn more. You know, I tell you what, not that hard to do the news. I know my news sucks compared to Dawn, but I was able to get through that relatively smoothly.
You were, but you don't have the soft, sweet voice.
No, I don't have the Emmy award-winning chops of delivering the news, but you know, I didn't make it a total train wreck. It wasn't like Joe reading from the prompter.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's almost like you've done this before.
Yeah, we're able to manage.
You're a radio pro.
Yeah, we get through these things on a Tuesday.
Be able to do anything. Come on.
How about that? All right, Mary, I need a score there. 1 to 10. How would you rate that?
I am not going in. I'm not wading into this.
No? I personally was going to give myself a 7.2, but I was just curious. Greg, you want to score it?
6.8.
6.8. All right, not bad. We'll round it down to a 7 flat. I'll take it.
Let's put it this way, not Dawn.
Well, of course not. And who is?
I'm not Dawn. You're not Dawn.
That's
there we
correct.
go.
By the way, Mary, getting rave reviews for your fill-in. So we appreciate that. Not just from the audience, but also from the people around here. So congratulations.
Oh, well, thank you so much. And now I got to pay them all.
They must not realize she's from Villanova. Where do they find out about that? That'll drop the score a little bit, right? No, I'm just kidding. Speaking of scores dropping, well, the scores aren't dropping, but the market share is. So the April beer numbers are in for the month, and I believe, I'm going to go out on a limb here, okay? This will be, in my opinion, unless we have unbelievable developments, the last time we mentioned the words Bud Light on Kayal Company for the foreseeable future. Unless somebody gets fired, unless, in June or July, their numbers are down like 30%. I'm so exhausted by the Dylan Mulvaney Bud Light story, but it is my job to give you the news that matters on stories that we talk about. So April's numbers have come in for beer, and Bud Light, it was an absolute bloodbath. According to Beer Business Daily, one of the leading outlets that tracks the sales of America's favorite lagers, Anheuser-Busch volume for the month down 12% for the month of April, obviously led by poster boy for Bud Light, Dylan Mulvaney, which was down a staggering 21.4%. So I guess when you factor in Bud Light, Budweiser, and every other product under the Anheuser-Busch branding family. Bud Light was leading the way with declining sales at 21.4% in the wrong direction, bringing Anheuser-Busch down collectively over 12% last month. Molson Coors was up 7%, while both Miller Lite and Coors Light were in the double digits. And then from a local standpoint, the great brewery in Pottsville, Yuengling, America's oldest brewery, baby.
My favorite.
We talked about this. You're a big Yuengling flight fan, Mary.
Yes, I am.
They went up 14% last month, and obviously they were poking the bear on social media. And even yesterday, they tweeted out a picture of what looks like will be their summer branding and their casing. Basically all red, white, and blue, and Let's Go USA on it. The only thing that could have been better is if they would have said Let's Go Brandon across it, which I actually think would elevate their sales even further. But I get what they're implying and what they're trying to do here.
Yes, and I don't know if you saw this, but Clay Travis was at a concert in the Nashville area.
Yeah.
And he did a pick which beer you want experiment. You could get a free beer.
Uh-huh.
No one took Bud Light all night long. So he posted a couple of different videos.
Okay.
And he had cooler full of Michelob Ultra, Yuengling, and Bud Light.
Yep.
By 10:15, the cooler only had cans of Bud Light remaining. So he said, I'm not a marketing expert, but this doesn't look good.
Yeah. Well, so you're saying shocking that nobody wants Bud Light after Dylan Mulvaney is one of their endorsers. And also shocking, there was a concert in Nashville.
Yeah.
I never knew they had concerts in Nashville. Unbelievable.
I kind of figured that would kind of ring with you.
But you know what?
Kind of hit home.
Yeah. But you know what I've always loved? Like, if you've ever had one of these family gatherings around Memorial Day, the 4th of July, Labor Day, or anywhere where you're outside and there's a cooler of beer. Like, me and my wife would always have these family gatherings, and I would be sent out for the beer run, right? And she's like, all right, you got to go get a case of light beer, and then get like a case of lager, something heavier. So I'd go out and then I'd look around, and I would usually come back with 2 or 3 different ones. Let's just say it was, it was Bud Light, it was Yuengling, and a case of Corona or something. And there's always like that one beer when you give 3 or 4 options that just doesn't get consumed. It's not a hit with the party that you're hosting. That's kind of like where Bud Light is now at that Nashville concert, right? Like they showed up, and then like 3 hours later, you stick your hand in the cooler. The ice is kind of melted. There's this big amount of water that's building up, and there's a bunch of Bud Lights that nobody touched. That's basically what happened here.
Yeah.
So
pretty much what happened. It's kind of like that guy when you have a party and everyone else has gone home. And he's still there.
Yeah,
and
it's
you're
like, bro,
okay,
you gotta leave.
You go upstairs and you put your pajamas on and you come back downstairs and he still doesn't get the
Oh,
clothes.
there's still somebody clinging to the house.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
That's him.
That's exactly right. If you guys have thoughts, you want to jump in, 855-839-1210. You can call. You can tweet us. You can hit us up on Instagram, 1210WPHT. Or you can do what Greg likes to have you do. Go on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/@1210WPHT. Subscribe.
Yeah.
Like it. And then join the Kayal Company content community.
Wow.
And the comment community, where you can just start your own show in the YouTube chat right now. You could be sitting here ridiculing us, correcting us, saying how great we are. We'll read the negative stuff.
Yeah. And we can just keep the camera on Mary the entire time.
That's right.
Because that's really what people are tuning in for.
Oh, that's what. Especially when I go when I read like the bad comments, I'll save them all up till later, and then I just get a gallon of ice cream, a half gallon of ice cream, and I just sit on my bed sobbing reading them. So yeah,
I'm in my feelings.
By the way, we hit 2.71.
All right,
let's stick it up to 2.72.
Oh, here he goes.
2.72.
Yep.
Hit the subscribe button. 1210. YouTube.com/@1210WPHT. Don't forget that @ symbol. The @ symbol is very important. Hit the subscribe button. Get us up to 2.72 by 8 o'clock.
All right. Sounds good. Coming up next, Tucker Carlson. What are in his future plans? Why is he ready to go scorched earth? And more texts are revealed. We'll get to that story and the juicy details next. Kayal Company. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Live life to the fullest. Yeah, you hear that all the time, but it's easier said than done when you're in pain. Hey, Dawn Stensland here. QC Kinetics really does give people all over our region back their quality of life by providing much-needed relief for chronic joint pain. Doing it in the most non-invasive way possible using regenerative treatments from your body's own natural biologics. QC Kinetics concentrates these impactful treatments right at the source of your pain, directly applying healing properties where you need them the most. No surgery, no downtime, no steroids or harmful drugs, and patients are raving about the results. What does living life to the fullest look like for you? Finally being able to play golf, walk your dog, enjoy time with your family, or just do your job without pain, whatever it is. Don't wait one more day. Call QC Kinetics for your complimentary consultation with locations around the Philadelphia region. 215-999-3000, 215-999-3000. Tell them Dawn sent you.
The Dude at Dental Group, official dentist of the Philadelphia Eagles, is a proud supporter of the Talk Radio 1210 Radiothon for the Travis Manion Foundation. Dr. Dilip Dudat grew up in North Wales, graduated from North Penn High School and Temple Dental School. Today, Dr. D and his team supports our local area by providing advanced dental care using the latest technology at 30 area practices and contributes to the local economy with 250 team members. The Dudat Dental Group, proud supporter of the Travis Manion Foundation. Visit PhiladelphiaEaglesDentist.com.
Phillies baseball is in full swing.
It's a 3-run home run for Alec Bohm and a 6 RBI night.
With the free Odyssey app, you can stream the team all summer long in your backyard, at the beach, or wherever you're listening.
The ball bobbled. The Phillies win. Bryson Stott has won it.
Phillies baseball. Phillies announcers. Streaming live on the free Odyssey app. AUDACY. Get in the game and download it today.
It's Borgata's 20th anniversary. Come celebrate with over 20 wheels during the Road to Riches giveaway. This May and June, 1,200 players will win a share of $1.2 million in prizes, including 4 luxury golf carts and 2 Lexus SUVs. Earn entries for drawings held every Saturday and 2 grand prize drawings on May 27th and June 24th. The Road to Riches giveaway, only at Borgata. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hey, it's Rich Zioli. Every once in a while, you come across a deal that you can't pass up. And if you live in an older home, you'll want to listen up. I've told you how USA Insulation completely changed how my home feels. I've told you how it's paid for itself in energy savings. And if you haven't had your home insulation upgraded yet, I'm here to tell you that now is the time. The discounts are bigger than they've ever been. This month, during National Home Improvement Month, you can get free install labor. You pay for the foam. USA Insulation will install it for free. Plus, there's an energy credit that puts up to $1,200 back in your pocket. You got to take advantage of this before the summer heat. They can insulate almost any type of home, including brick homes. Over 100,000 homeowners can't be wrong, including me. 1-800-USA-FOAM. That's 1-800-USA-FOAM or USAinsulation.net. USAinsulation.net.
Did you miss Puts on the Cut Sheet? Or any part of Kayal Company? Just head to 1210 WPHT on the Odyssey app and tap earlier today.
.722, Kayal Company, as we are back here on a Tuesday morning. Nick Kale, Mary Walter in for Dawn Stensland, Greg Stocker, Daniel and Anthony here as well. This segment brought to you by Hint Water. Hint infuses pure water with fruit essences to create surprisingly accurate fruit flavors without any sugar, diet sweeteners, or calories. Available in stores or at hintwater.com. All right, so some juicy stuff out there with Tucker Carlson as what his future looks like and some of the battles that he is fighting against his old employer. Fox News. So we got a couple of headlines for you. I want to get your thoughts on this, Mary, as somebody who used to work with Fox. Tucker Carlson is reportedly preparing for war against Fox News. Ally warns that Tucker knows where a lot of the bodies are buried. Apparently preparing for war, and this is in an effort to pry him loose from his contract with the network prior to its January 2025 end date, which would be, of course, right after the 2024 election. According to Axios, Carlson is ready to escalate his battle with the network. A person described as a, quote, close friend of Carlson's told Axios that up until now, the fired host has been telling friends, I want to get this done quietly and clean. But now, according to the friend, Carlson is about to change tactics. He says, quote, we're going from peacetime to DEFCON 1. His team is preparing for war. He wants his freedom. A Carlson source told Axios that the fired host, quote, knows where a lot of the bodies are buried and it's ready to start drawing a map. Now, what I find interesting with this is he's basically being paid not to work. And he's going to be getting, I believe, roughly $20 million a year to sit on his keister. If he would like to go play some golf, get a tan, have some cocktails, and not worry about stuff. But from the competitive nature standpoint, and you know it, I know it, Greg knows it, Dawn knows it, anybody that's ever done this profession, whether it's radio or TV, that camera in front of you or the mic in front of you is like a drug. It's like an addiction. You need it, you love it. You say sometimes you get tired of it, and you leave it for a little bit, and you get drawn back in. So I can understand why he would want to move away from, oh, yeah, that's fine. I don't need the $20 million a year to not work. I'll take, $20 million to work or $15 million to work or whatever it might be. Are you surprised? I don't know if you have any relationship with Tucker Carlson, but are you surprised that it's playing out the way it is now, where he was kind of being subdued and low key, and now he's kind of chomping at the bit maybe to start sparring?
Yeah, so as far as a personal relationship with Tucker, I've only met him twice, once at the studios in D.C. and once at a social event. So I've only met him twice, nice guys, but I have no insight. I mean, nothing other than surface. That's that. First of all, regarding the $20 million not to work, I got to tell you, that's the difference between TV and radio, right? Because I've been paid not to work in radio.
Yeah.
And it was great. It was the summer. It was fantastic. It worked out beautifully. Didn't hate it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But then again, you have to start working again, because in radio, you're not going to get paid $20 million to not work for a year.
Right.
So I look at
Although
that.
I've tried that.
How'd that work out for you? I noticed that you're getting up at 4 a.m.
Yeah, so I got to get up again. Yeah, basically.
But I have to tell you, at this stage of my life, $20 million to sit back and be quiet, I'm like, I could probably do that.
Uh-huh.
I could be bought. I'm at that point in my life where I'm like, $20 million, cha-ching, that's my number.
Yeah,
there.
Could go a long way for sure.
Right. But I get where Tucker, there's also, I think, probably a certain amount of, I'm going to get revenge. Like, you're not going to shut me up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to come back bigger and better than ever.
Yeah.
Now, let's not forget, Dan Bongino also left Fox.
Yep.
Dan Bongino owns Rumble, right?
Yep.
He runs. So if you team up Dan Bongino and Tucker Carlson, and I know nothing about this,
Mm-hmm.
I have no inside information, anything along those lines, but I know Dan pretty well. And Dan's not the type of guy to sit down and be silenced at all.
Sure.
At all. So I would not be surprised if you saw both of them come back in some way, shape, or form. And let's face it, NDAs are nowadays aren't worth the paper they're written on.
Mm-hmm.
It's so I can see where they're going to fight Tucker, but someone, going back to the stuff that's being leaked out, the videos and things like that, and emails, who's leaking them? Got to be somebody at Fox.
Yeah, and it's interesting you brought up Bongino, because I was going to bring up Glenn Beck as well. So it feels like there's 4 options for Tucker Carlson if he decides to not just sit out and collect a check from Fox. There's The Blaze with Glenn Beck. There's Rumble with Dan Bongino. My initial question is, how in the hell could they afford, and I have no idea what their business model looks like or what they make money-wise and profit. I find it a little odd that they would be, or maybe even a stretch, that they could afford Carlson at that $20 million mark or $15 million. But I'm just totally spitballing.
If I'm like a Bongino or one of those guys, I give Tucker a share in whatever the company is. So
Right. But what is that share?
He knows
right?
he'll bring eyeballs. So instead of a $20 million salary, you take a lot less salary, but you take a share of the company, so that when he goes over there and people follow, stock price, all that stuff happens. But by the way, as far as the competitive spirit, when I am unceremoniously removed from this job, like many other program directors have been.
I've heard it's coming this Friday.
Before
to give you the box.
Yeah, exactly. You damn well bet I am going across the street and I am trying my damnedest to defeat this station and this company. So there's that fight instinct in people that like us that do what we do, that want to go somewhere else and compete and win.
Yeah. No.
So I'm sure that's what Tucker has in mind.
So all right, so we've gone through Rumble, we've gone through the Blaze. Now let's get to Newsmax. Could they afford closer? See, I think Newsmax could afford more than Rumble or the Blaze. And Newsmax now, because Tucker has such a massive following, a lot of people feel like they're done with Fox. Tucker was the last true voice or whatever on Fox. They're going to boycott it. Whoever's going to be in that spot short term or long term's got unbelievable shoes to fill. But we've seen in the past where others have left Fox and we've heard the noise. Oh, I'm never going to. And then they come back. Would Newsmax be able to get Tucker Carlson? And does Tucker bring the amount of viewers that all of a sudden Newsmax is a true player? Because right now, you look at Fox, they triple up CNN, they double up MSNBC, MSNBC almost doubles up CNN, and then you have the other networks, and no disrespect to any of them, but they're not viewed from the mainstream standpoint like Fox, CNN, and MSNBC are. Is Newsmax a player here?
So I think Chris Ruddy, who owns and runs Newsmax, is a smart man. And look at the changes he's made. First of all, when he first started out, which is it was back in like 2014.
Okay.
I want to say probably a little bit earlier than that, because that was my first run through Newsmax.
Mm-hmm.
And he already had office studios in New York and down in Florida. Now he's got New York, Florida, and D.C.
Yep.
So he's widespread. So he's smart in that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's not just all in one area. But notice what he's doing. So they started out with expanding their programming. They built it. Now he's making changes. There are so many former Fox people who work at Newsmax now, bookers, talent, camera people. A lot of people who have left Fox go over to Newsmax. Look at his lineup. He just added Chris Plant at 9 o'clock, which I think was a really smart move. I love Chris Plant. I think he's hilarious. And
he was on last night, right?
Yes, last night was his first night. And I used to work with him in my last radio job. And I think that was a smart move. So he's starting to put bigger names in, right? So I would not be surprised if you start to see, sadly, the people who really helped to build Newsmax to where it is, especially on air, are probably going to start to get replaced with bigger names. Greta Van Sustern's there, Eric Bowling. So that's what he's doing. So I would not be surprised to see Tucker, but I would see Tucker. I think he'd have a show, but I also think, to Greg's point, there would be another part of the deal. In order to sweeten it to make Tucker come over.
And maybe the sweetest of them all, and this is the fourth and final one, Carlson's closest confidants say he's also contemplating building a direct-to-consumer media outlet where his millions of fans could pay to watch him, which I think, if you have that entrepreneurial spirit and also when you're at Tucker Carlson's age, was he 52, 53, he's probably tired of dealing with the suits and dealing with nonsense. He's made enough money. And if he doesn't want to deal with any BS and he wants to be in total ownership of his content, 100%, and then take 100% of the profits, he could create one of these websites or, some sort of streaming platform where he's legitimately the whole thing. It's just him. It's all about him. I'm assuming he'll have to hire people for sales and stuff like that. But would that make sense in the, I'm going down my own avenue path?
Yeah. So I just did a quick search here. Joe Rogan signed an exclusive agreement with Spotify for his podcast worth $100 million.
Yeah.
So I think that Tucker can probably do just as well as Joe Rogan.
You think Spotify would actually, if they have Rogan, they would absolutely welcome Carlson. Same
Right,
same kind of content.
And he also had all those specials on Fox Nation, so maybe something with Netflix as well.
Yeah.
I don't. He's not a podcast radio guy. He's a digital.
Good point.
Visual type thing. So I'm guessing that he's going to go to. The one thing you have to be careful too is that when Glenn Beck was on regular radio and he was on Fox News, he was super popular. He's still popular, but he's not as popular as he was on Fox News. So you have to be careful. Bill O'Reilly, the same thing. So you have to be careful about going off onto your own and not having the same level of influence.
Very few people, news or sports, have that kind of success.
To Mary's point, Joe Rogan, one of the few exceptions, but he didn't come from this world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep. 855-839-1210 if you want to jump in on the conversation. What's on the cut sheet? Well, you're going to find out in just about 11 minutes. That is coming up at 7:45 this morning. And then we have to get to, and we'll do this on the other side, a Major League Baseball television play-by-play man is in deep, hot water. Is he done? We'll delve into it, we'll debate it, and we'll discuss it coming up next here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Voting is your most important right. It gives you the power to decide our city's future. But you have to be in the know to vote. That's why AARP Philadelphia has collected all the most up-to-date voting information. Check out aarp.org/PHLMayor to get all the key dates and deadlines for the May 16th primary election, including how to register, apply for a mail-in or absentee ballot, find your polling place, and so much more. That's aarp.org/PHLMayor.
Corporate events, private parties, kick your next event up a notch. Hire comedian Joe Conklin to entertain your guests.
Hey, this is Dr. Charles Langman, and we hired Joe for a kickoff for our fundraiser, and he was just awesome. Knocked people's socks off.
I hired Joe to be the entertainment for the Liberty USO. The crowd went wild.
I definitely recommend Joe to anybody that wants to make a great impression with their customers.
Hire Joe Conklin now for corporate events and private parties. Go to joeconklin.com. joeconklin.com.
Hi, it's Rich Zioli. Do you have water on your property, soggy yard, sinking hardscape, pool liner floating? Garden State Earthworks is your drainage solution. 856-848-4444 or gardenstateearthworks.com.
For all of you who love to cook Italian, here's a mouth-watering message from Cento.
Big lasagna, manicotti, clam sauce with linguine, chicken parmigiana, and tuna capellini, gnocchi alla rosa sauce, pomodoro frittata, pappardelle, perciatelli, pasta caponata.
How do you give those dishes authentic old-world flavor? Authentic Italian cooking begins with Cento. Cento, for taste that sings. Cento, trust your family with our family.
Here's retirement phase expert Phil Cannella with today's report.
If you're in and near retirement and your financial professional is still prescribing a financial prescription known as stocks, bonds, and mutual funds to cure your financial ailments, it's probably time for you to seek out a new financial practitioner. This week's report is on how do you know you have the right advisor as you approach your retirement or when you're in retirement. When you're in the accumulation phase known as your working years, your financial health can tolerate a higher degree of risk in your investment portfolios. You have the time to grow back after economic storms. You have income to cost average because you're still working. Investors who were young and working throughout the dot-com market crash and the 2008 financial crisis likely had the endurance to regain what they had lost with Wall Street. But as you age and transition into the retirement phase of your life, your financial endurance weakens. You have less time to grow back, and you're on a fixed income, which increases your need to safeguard the nest egg you've worked a lifetime for. Accumulation advisors promote risk investments as investors transition into the retirement phase of their life. But these investors no longer have the luxury of time and working income to rebuild their nest egg when the market crashes. Knowing the difference between an accumulation phase advisor and a retirement phase expert can make all the difference in your financial portfolio and your retirement future. By meeting with a retirement phase expert, you can choose the appropriate path to protect your financial future and enjoy peace of mind during those golden years.
To hear more reports that will impact your financial future, join Phil Cannella and Joanne Small this Saturday at 11 a.m. on the Crash Proof Retirement Show, only on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Keep free speech alive. Follow 1210 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
She calls me Goliath and I wear the David mask. I guess the stones are coming too fast for her now.
738 Kayal Company. It's a Tuesday morning. Great to have all of you in here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Nick Kayal, Greg Stocker, Mary Walter is in for Dawn Stensland this morning. Dawn will be back tomorrow. What's on the cut sheet? That's coming up 7:45 this morning. But I do want to get to one piece of audio, and this is coming off of a weekend of baseball where the Oakland Athletics television play-by-play announcer for NBC Sports Bay Area, he is basically the Tom McCarthy of the Philadelphia Phillies. Yeah, he's basically that for NBC Sports Bay Area. And his name is Glenn Kuiper, who's been with the organization for 20 years as the play-by-play voice of the Oakland Athletics. And during the broadcast this past weekend, he apparently was doing a read for the Negro Baseball League Museum and Hall of Fame. And instead of saying Negro, he said the other N-word that carries a much more toxic tone. We cleaned it up. We censored it for you. And I want to play this for you and then get into some of the conversation about his future. So let's take a listen. This is NBC Sports Bay Area Oakland A's announcer Glenn Kuiper.
We had a phenomenal day today. League Museum and Arthur Bryant's Barbecue.
Now, he goes on to say that. And he says the N-word. He does not say Negro. He says the bad word. And there's a lot of people that lost their mind over the weekend. And I want to talk about this because I am adamantly opposed to cancel culture. Now, truth be told, I have no idea who Glenn Kuiper is. I didn't know Glenn Kuiper existed until this story happened. I have no history or relationship with the guy. I certainly don't know if he's racist or not. But a lot of people that saw that as this got posted on social media, unedited, by the way, were saying, well, that came out way too easily. He didn't even have a hiccup, which would imply he uses the word on a frequent basis. I don't use the word on a frequent basis. I don't use the word at all. And I would hate to have that type of slip up and have my career come to an end. But I've been in radio long enough. And, you know, Mary, you've been in radio and TV for many years as well. You're on 15 hours a week, 20 hours a week. Sometimes, I mean, every day I say something wrong, either factually incorrect or I butcher a word. We've got the grammar jar. Sometimes things just come out the wrong way. And I'm not defending the guy. I'm fighting against this mantra that we live by with the left where they want to end you for one slip up because they hate their own life. They're miserable. They hate this country. They hate other people's success, and they get on their little platform, and that's what social media has allowed. We have now given everybody the voice and the platform to police the world and tell you the way people should live their life and what they should be punished for and so forth and so on. In your opinion, now, he has been suspended indefinitely.
Yeah, he's never coming back.
Do you think he's absolutely canned?
Oh, Greg's right. He's canned. Yeah. He committed the ultimate sin. But here's the thing: there were some who heard this in its entirety who said he stumbled over his words. Okay. He came back immediately after the break and apologized and said that did not come out the way I meant for it to come out. I apologize. That was his mistake. He never apologized.
Yeah,
that was that. Unfortunately, that was his mistake. But there are two other points, just very quickly. The same people who will tell you what your intent was will also admonish you when you say, well, you don't know what his intent was when the shoe's on the other foot.
Right.
So they're selective mind readers. Their skill is very variable as to exactly when it comes into play.
Right.
You never know what someone's intent was. Stop. Unless there's a pattern. There's no pattern here.
Yes.
So you don't know what his intent was, and there are people who said he stumbled over his words and it came out the wrong way.
Yeah.
So, and I will give that to him. There is no pattern here of using it. But lastly, this I think we need a definitive. Can we get an across the board ruling on the use of this word, please? Because if I will hear it blaring from radios, with people singing along, and it's okay.
Well, it's funny you bring that up because there was just a story with Barstool Sports, which used to be owned by Dave Portnoy. He sold it to Penn Gaming. Penn Gaming, which operates sports books and gambling licenses, forced Dave Portnoy and Barstool to fire one of their Barstool clowns, who apparently was with Barstool for many years, and he apparently was, singing or reading rap lyrics that had the N-word in it. And he didn't use it in any other manner other than reading the actual lyrics of the song. And he got fired for that. And, Portnoy with Barstool is very much against cancel culture, and he's being ripped for it. And then he has to come out on a video on social media and defend himself, saying, look, Penn Gaming owns us now, and they're not going to risk losing a gambling license and the amount of money they make off of gambling over somebody's slip-up, which I kind of find to be BS, because to me, gamblers have needs, right? I bet on sports. Trust me, I get it. So there's no way that a gambling company is going to lose business from one person's slip-up. Because at the end of the day, there's a lot of people, and that's why they create the phone number, 1-800-GAMBLER. People have an addiction. So I found that story to be fast. But going back to the Oakland A's announcer for a moment, this is where I think we need more forgiveness and more acceptance and humility in this country, because Bob Kendrick is the president of the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum. And he issued a statement saying, I'm aware of the unfortunate slur made by Glenn Kuiper. I welcomed Glenn to the NLBM yesterday and know he was genuinely excited to be there. The word is painful and has no place in our society. And while I don't pretend to know Glenn's heart, I do know that my heart is one of forgiveness. I hope you will all find it in yourselves to do the same. So, it's interesting when you look at somebody who would have a right to be offended by it, saying, okay, he made a mistake, forgive, forget, move on. Yet you will have some of these fringe left-wingers, and most of them are white people, that will be the guy or be the people that bury this guy's career. That's the stuff that drives me insane with this cancel culture, virtue signaling, selective moral outrage.
Yeah. Do you remember, to your point that you were making about, the selective outrage and how when some people can use it and some people can't use it? And Kendrick Lamar, do you remember this when he invited this white fan up on the stage to sing with him?
Yep.
And so she sings with him. And then she winds up getting canceled because the song that he was singing had the N-word in it. He invites her up to sing it with him, and then she gets canceled.
Okay, so you got to fill me in now. So who's Kendrick Lamar?
He's a hip hop artist.
Okay, I don't listen to hip hop today, so I have no idea.
Oh man.
I'd be willing to bet a lot of our audience has no idea who Kendrick Lamar is.
I understand. I understand what you're saying. I just okay.
Yeah.
They booed her. They booed her off the stage because she sang the song he invited her up to sing, which has the N-word in it several times.
So, all right, so she got booed off stage, but was that the end of it, or did she lose a job or something because of that?
No, as far as I know, she didn't lose a job or anything. But he tells her, you've got to censor yourself. You called a white girl up on the stage to sing a song that has the N-word in it. It's several times in the song, and then you tell her she can't sing.
Right.
Yeah, there needs to be Mary's right. There needs to be a blanket uniformity amongst this word.
Yeah.
And it's either banned from society or it's not. We can't pick and choose who can use it and who can not use it.
I got to find out who Kendrick Lamar is. Google that.
You're the oldest 39-year-old I know.
I know. Is he like he's a current act?
Yes, he's probably one of the most popular hip hop artists.
Okay.
Around now, maybe, and I might be dating myself 5 years.
Okay.
So that's, what I mean?
I used to listen to Biggie in the 90s when I was a kid. But, we grow up eventually.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Kendrick Lamar. At 1210 WPHT if you want to roast me for not knowing Kendrick Lamar.
Hip 39-year-old doesn't know what she's talking about. I love this.
I remember Kyle Kendrick, the Phillies pitcher.
Yeah, okay.
There we go.
I got to tell you, Greg, this camp for Nick to teach him about the movies and things like
Yeah.
that. We're expanding our curriculum now.
It's going to music.
It's going to have to be a whole weekend.
We're going to need a bigger boat.
Yeah.
John Paul on YouTube says he won a Grammy.
I don't watch the Grammys.
I know you don't, but I'm just.
I don't either, but okay.
All right. That's fine.
Just saying.
You can keep the comments coming. I'll take all your. I got keep firing.
By the way, we are streaming live on YouTube as long as we're mentioning it. YouTube.com/@1210WPHT. We made it to 2.72.
How about that?
Let's tick it up to 2.73. Can we 2.73? Hit the subscribe button. Get us to 2.73 by 8:30.
I feel like I'm in a deli and you keep calling. You call every number but mine.
Look, there's no promotion. We get no promotion on this radio station for the show. I have to literally do it myself because we have no budget for any sort of.
You should talk to the boss
promotion.
about that.
Yeah, I should.
Sounds like a manager meeting you might want to have yourself. 7:48 as we get to a Tuesday installment of What's on the Cut Sheet.
What's on the Cut Sheet?
What's on the cut sheet on this Tuesday is brought to you by our good friends at Cherry Hill Volvo, where relationships matter, and also where Costco members save like $2,500 on the XC40 or $1,000 on other models. These can be combined with offers. See store for details. Cherry Hill Volvo, where relationships matter. Check them out on Route 70 at Cherry Hill. Thank you, Cherry Hill Volvo, for sponsoring the all-important Tuesday edition of What's on the Cut Sheet. So this must have been painful for CNN. CNN's Kate Bolden broke down the latest Washington Post ABC News poll released this weekend on President Joe Biden's approval rating and hypothetical 2024 matchup against Trump. You talked a lot about this in your big take, Nick Kayal. Joe Biden has the lowest approval rating of any president at this point in presidency since polling began. So,
way to go, Joe.
Yay.
He's used to being in the basement, isn't he? In more ways than one.
Here's that report from CNN yesterday.
The first real snapshot, if you will, of President Biden's standing since his reelection announcement. Voters are saying he has real work to do, and that's even among his own party. A new Washington Post ABC News poll found that 58% of Democrats and Democratic-leaning independents that they want their party, to nominate someone else. Biden's overall approval rating remains underwater as well. 36% approval, according to the Washington Post ABC News poll. That's the lowest for any American president at this point in their first term. That's dating back to Harry Truman. Let's get to the White House right now. CNN's Arlette Saenz is standing by. Arlette, lay out for us how Biden stacks up, first and foremost, when it comes to the Republican frontrunner right now, Donald Trump.
Well, Kate, it's very early in the process, but this poll does show some challenging figures for President Biden as he's just under 2 weeks into his reelection campaign. One of the concerns that voters have expressed have to do with his mental sharpness. If you take a look at this poll, only 32% of voters said that the president, who is 80 years old, has the mental sharpness to serve effectively. Compare that to former President Donald Trump, where only 54% of voters said that the former president, who is 76 years old, has the mental sharpness to serve effectively. Now, President Biden has pushed back against concerns about his age. He said that as he decided to run for re-election, he took a hard look at his own age and ultimately decided to move forward with it. And in a recent interview, he said that his age gives him more experience and also, quote, a hell of a lot of wisdom. So that is one thing that the president will have to surmount as he moves forward in this re-election bid, is those concerns about his age. But I also want to show you what this poll has to say about hypothetical general election matchups. If you take a look at President Biden and Donald Trump, this shows that 38% of voters say they would definitely or probably vote for Biden, while 44% say the same for Trump. Then take a look at DeSantis. 37% say they definitely or probably would vote for Biden, compared to 42% for DeSantis. Now, one thing to note in this poll is these questions are worded differently compared to other polls that are evaluating these possible general election matchup. But it is still very, very early in the process. But these figures have shown right there, at least, that the president is trailing his chief rivals on the Republican side. We know that the president took aim at both of those men in that announcement video for his campaign. So these are just some of the challenges that the president will have to overcome in the coming months, with the campaign 18 months away.
Joe trying to spin at his age, the wisdom, and I know so much more, is like a 40-year-old in Major League Baseball that used to have a fastball and was a pitcher that threw 95 and now throws 82 miles an hour and is clearly cooked and shot. You can't spin and sell that your experience is of value. And how about, too, the phrase I heard there that the Biden administration and Joe has work to do. That's the dilemma in itself because Joe doesn't work. So you have work to do, but you don't work. You've spent 40% of your presidency on vacation. We've heard in the last week or so that Joe's typical schedule is 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. He's like a part-timer in college, working at the mall 30 hours a week. Mary, your thoughts?
Well, on the upside, Joe Biden is breaking records.
That's true. It's true.
Right? Yes. So, you have to give credit where credit is due. I was going to bring up the point about his schedule, and you beat me to it, Nick, which scares me that we're on the same wavelength.
Hey.
But you're right. I mean, the biggest event for him during his day is lunch. Right? And his afternoon pudding.
Right.
But they don't. But this is really important.
Yeah.
Because if you look at, we laugh at it, but it begs the question: who's running the government? Because it ain't Joe.
It's not a Joe production.
And it's scary when they're not even trying to hide it anymore. It's scary when they've made it quite clear there will be no Democrat primary. We are going to choose, whoever we is, are going to choose the candidate. There will be, no debates, and we are putting Joe back in the basement, and they're just going to count on destroying Trump with all their Oppo research, all their lawfare that is being funded by taxpayers on local and federal levels to defeat Trump to keep their guy in.
I'm just trying to figure out how low can we go with the approval rating? Because he's at 36. He's at 36. Does it get below 35?
I have to. I understand what you guys are saying. These are terrible polls for him. At the end of the day, it doesn't.
I agree. No,
People are going to get in the voting booth, and they're going to be like, "I can't vote for Trump.
Yeah,
it can't be Trump."
Oh, I know. Yep. And we learned that in the midterms as well.
So it's it's a fun exercise to play, and it keeps it entertaining. But at the end of the day, these polls I think are meaningless.
I would agree.
One person that is challenging Joe Biden, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He did an interview last night on Hannity's program.
Oh.
I want to. I'm going to put on my conspiracy hat for a second.
I like when you do that.
See who's going to join me.
Yeah.
He thinks that there are millions of pages of documents involving the CIA and his uncle JFK in the assassination, and he goes on to explain why.
Okay.
I too am in this belief that the CIA was behind the assassination.
To steal
of
a
JFK.
phrase from you, 100%.
Yes. Thank you.
I'll give my thoughts after the clip.
I'm noticing Mary's quiet on this. She doesn't believe this. You don't believe this, Mary?
Well, no, I'm down for a good conspiracy theory every now and then.
Okay. So you think it was just one rogue gunman who took out a beloved president?
No, I didn't even realize that was up for debate.
Okay.
I don't know who believes that it was just one rogue gunman anymore, do we? I mean, look at the members of the Warren Commission.
There's a lot
how
of
many of them are still in government today, and how many of them have been president?
A lot of people think that it was one rogue gunman.
So let me get this straight though. So Greg and I believe that this could be this is a CIA thing. Mary does not subscribe to CIA or the lone gunman. You have a third?
No. I don't know if it was the CIA. I do think. Listen, don't get me wrong here.
Yeah.
I do. I'm just not saying. I'm not saying. Oh, it was the CIA. I think. I don't believe it was one lone gunman. And do I believe that there was definitely some kind of collaborative effort that involved the government in some way? Oh yeah.
Okay.
But they have not released so many of the papers that they said that they were going to release. Yeah. And so that makes me wonder. The more when there's no transparency, I polish up my tinfoil hat and put it on my head.
Exactly.
And I'm going to play this clip in a second. Do you guys believe that the nephew of the person who was assassinated has maybe more information than we do?
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment to arrive at.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Let's play RFK from last night with Hannity.
You said the evidence is overwhelming and beyond any reasonable doubt that the CIA was involved in the killing of your uncle, a U.S. president. What is the evidence?
Well, there's millions of pages of documents, of CIA documents, of transcripts, of recorded conversations from the Cuban embassy in Mexico City. It's hard to summarize the evidence. There are, as I said in that podcast, there are confessions of people who were directly involved in the plot, who were involved in the planning of the plot, who were peripheral to the plot. There's a 60-year cover-up. The Warren Commission was run by Alan Dulles, who was the head of the CIA, who my uncle fired, and then insinuated himself onto the Warren Commission and essentially ran the Warren Commission and kept this evidence from the Warren Commissioners. By the way, when Congress, 10 years later, investigated the crime with much more evidence than the Warren Commission had at its disposal, Congress found that, yeah, it was a plot. It was a conspiracy. There were multiple people involved. And most of the people in that investigation believed that it was the CIA that was behind it because the evidence was so overwhelming to them.
The magic bullet never made any sense to me. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, well, none of it made any. I mean, Jack Ruby, even when I was a little boy, Sean, I was in the White House. My uncle was, laying at rest in the East Room, being waked. And I was standing in the main foyer of the White House with my Aunt Jackie Kennedy and my father and my mother. And President Johnson came in and told us that Lee Harvey Oswald had just been killed by Jack Ruby. And and I said to my mom at that point, I turned to her and I said, why did he kill him? Did he love our family? Well, that's a lingering question. What was Jack Ruby doing there? My father, when he investigated Jack Ruby, he found out that Jack Ruby had been deeply involved with Carlos Marcella's mob, with Sam Giancana, and all the people who were all of those mob leaders, Santos Traficante, who were the Havana casino owners, who had been recruited by the CIA in the Castro murder plot. So they were all working together in cahoots with the CIA. By the way,
there you go. I don't know.
Wow. I think it's these, and I like RFK Jr. in some respects, but I think these are the reasons why the Democrats will never be on board with this guy completely because they view him to be a bit of a crazy guy. But I think there's a lot of merit to what he said. It's obviously I can't prove that, but it is my belief that the CIA took out this guy. And let me just ask this question because I have even thrown out this. Not even a question, but just this thought in the past to many of my friends and family members. If in fact that is what happened and the CIA took out Kennedy, are you surprised in the last 3 years, knowing, and if you are of the belief that there are forces at work here against Trump and believe that Trump will never get back into the White House because, Trump said the quiet part out loud, he's anti-establishment, the whole bit. Are you surprised that there's never been an attempt to take out Donald Trump?
That we know of.
Yeah.
That we know of.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, I think it's because of that we know of. And I again, they're not afraid of hiding themselves at this point in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if because of what happened with Bobby Kennedy and John Kennedy, that it was so open and so many people question it, right? Now, I think pretty much most people question both of those and exactly what happened. Even Jackie said the reason she left the country was because they're killing Kennedys.
Yeah.
So I think that really planted the seed. So maybe they're not going to go full on in that sense. We'll start doing what Putin does, and people will just start dying of food poisoning. but look at Epstein.
Yeah,
right.
We're
supposed to just believe that the cameras just weren't working, and that the two guards were temps from some temporary agency, and they were just really bad at their job.
Right.
And where is Epstein's black book?
Mm-hmm.
So because I think of what happened with the Kennedy assassination, I think of all of that is the reason why now people look at things like Epstein, etc., and go,
Yep.
Something's not right here.
Well, anytime, whether it's, with JFK's assassination or all the way up to now with, these school shootings, like in Nashville, with the manifesto not being released, anytime a federal agency or a government entity does not release all of the information, this is what drives and creates speculation and doubt.
Yep.
Because you're not being transparent with the American public.
Yeah, if they would have just released everything when it happened,
right,
none of this would have. But it's the government, being secretive that everybody comes to these conclusions. Okay, if we're way off base, then release it.
Yeah.
These, the classified nature of these documents can't be. I mean, everybody involved in this is dead.
Right.
It was so long ago.
But you get little pieces here and there that get released, and I feel like eventually, once every single person that was remotely involved has perished, then the truth will eventually be released, and maybe it'll come out in bits and pieces. But also going back to the Nashville situation with the school shooter there, let's also look at, agendas and narratives. Because if this Nashville school shooter was a conservative and a white male, I guarantee you that manifesto is released.
Yeah.
But the shooter was a trans female against white Christians. So now, because we know the slant of the media and we know the way things are, make no mistake about it. If this was a Trump supporter, that manifesto's in our hands 3 weeks ago.
Oh, absolutely. But it's not just the slant of the media. It's the slant of the government as well.
Yep.
And not just those in elected office. It's the unelected bureaucrats and their slant. Because if you can get rid of organized religion, right? If you can get more people to look at the government as their source of all good, that everything good comes from the government, and you take them away from church, that's what they do in communist countries.
Yep.
The government is your God. The government is the one who brings you all. Your existence relies solely on the government. If they can stamp out religion, and they're doing a good job of it in this country, that's one more step to the government having sole control.
Joe Biden yesterday and Mayor Pete spoke about thank you. Spoke about airlines yesterday. Joe Biden started off his remarks by praising airlines for forcing staffers to get COVID shots.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Secretary Buttigieg. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you, Secretary Buttigieg. Yeah, you got cookies in my mouth.
He sounds like the old creepy neighbor in Family Guy.
Thank you, Secretary Buttigieg.
Thank you for. I'm going to start that over, boys. I'm going to start that over from the beginning. All right.
Thank you, Secretary Buttigieg. Thank you all for being here. Please sit down.
Thank you.
What is he doing? Sit down.
You sound so perverted.
Sit down.
Sit down. This will be painless. It'll be an in and out procedure.
No. Oh, come on.
It's too
Come on,
early.
it is.
It's 8:05. You've had your coffee.
All right, starting over once again.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
Here we go.
Thank you, Secretary Buttigieg. Thank you all for being here. Please sit down. As we approach Memorial Day this weekend, and Memorial Day weekend, I'm rushing.
Oh my God, boy, he's off to a rousing start, isn't he? As we approach Memorial Day this weekend.
Tucker Carlson has some thoughts.
We'll do it live.
Let's just do it live, Joe.
Memorial Day weekend, Memorial Day this weekend, whatever.
As we approach Memorial Day.
Yeah. Mother's Day, Memorial Day starts with an M.
Joe, you want a s'more? S'more? How can I have s'more? I haven't had anything yet.
Oh, but I'm bummed.
Sorry.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Always.
Of course.
At what point does this become elder abuse? Seriously. I mean, it's seriously. At what point do we say this is just elder abuse?
Mm-hmm.
This poor man, I kind of feel sorry for him at this point in the game. Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Mary, this guy couldn't run a lemonade stand right now. And he's running the country, supposedly.
I know. But he's talking, I was watching this, he's talking about on Memorial Day, we're talking about travel. Who travels on, it's not like Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
The hell with that.
All right, one more time, boys, in the back.
Sorry.
I'm starting over.
Uninterrupted, here we
go.
go.
No, I like this.
Take 12.
We just have to, it's complicated.
Yeah, well,
behind the scenes,
one way to put
because
it.
we are broadcasting live right now on YouTube,
Oh, yeah.
youtube.com/@1210 WPHT. So they sync the video up with what I'm playing.
Right.
So I have to just give them cues.
Yes.
Got it?
Here we go.
Got it.
Thank you, Secretary Buttigieg, thank you all for being here. Please sit down. As we approach Memorial Day this weekend, and Memorial Day weekend, I'm rushing it, and a busy summer travel season, I'm here to talk about steps my administration is taking to make air travel better for all Americans. The airline industry is a key part of our economy, and they've been critical partners in a number of important initiatives, from requiring employees to get COVID vaccines and addressing the supply chain problems over the last couple of years. But I know how frustrated many of you are with the service you get from your U.S. Airlines.
Amen to that.
Yeah. So a tip of the cap to Southwest Airlines for saying, roll up your sleeves, get the jab, because, oh, wait a minute, it will not prevent you from getting COVID. It will not prevent you from spreading COVID. And if you are young and healthy and in relatively good shape, you're probably not going to notice a difference if you get COVID with or without the vaccine. Thank you, Joe. Riveting commentary. Nothing like forcing Americans to inject something into their body that they're hesitant on, and your livelihood depends on it. You will lose your, which why I'm so glad I'm seeing some of these stories pop up, Mary, where we are seeing people that not only have been brought back to the job they were fired from for refusing to get the vaccine, but also being compensated with back pay.
Well, first, so would you go back if let's say Odyssey says you have to be vaccinated, or you are off the microphone, that's it, and you have to feed your family? What are you going to do? You're going to get the vaccine because you're not going to get, you have to feed your family, right?
Correct.
So now they ask you to come back. Oh, you know what? We were wrong about that thing that we forced you to inject into your body.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes some of them made you get a booster as well.
Yep.
So do you go back at that point?
Well, I mean, I guess it's dependent upon your current situation. Are you still unemployed? Are you still struggling for work? Did you have to take a lesser job to make ends meet? Did you have to take 2 part-time jobs to recoup what you were making full-time? I mean, if it's a job, if it's a passion that you love, perhaps, yes, you do go back. If it was just a job that paid well that you did because, it meets the ends that you need, maybe you just go tell them to pound sand.
Yeah, I have to tell you, I am the go pound sand kind of girl. I would be
you.
just like, you know what? I will get a job being a greeter at Walmart before I will come back and bathe in your filth. There is no way.
What if they gave you a raise?
Nope. I honestly don't.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't think I would, because you know what? I think I would feel so violated because they forced me to put something into my body that I didn't want in my body. So I think I would feel so violated because of that. That there's no coming back from that.
Yeah. I can see the people being like, so let me get this right, Kayal. You're mad about that, but you put 750 milliliters of bourbon in your body on a weekly basis. Yes, I do it because it's my body and it's my liver.
My liver's on its own.
Exactly.
I'll figure it out.
Joe Biden said at the end of that people are frustrated with airline travel.
Yeah.
So what is the Biden administration going to do about this? I want to ask you two about their steps into making flying more pleasant for people, I guess, or more consumer friendly.
Yes.
That's why I'm announcing a second critical step today to protect American consumers. Later this year, my administration will propose a historic new rule that will make it mandatory, not voluntary, but mandatory,
more mandates,
for all U.S. airlines to compensate you with meals, hotels, taxis, ride shares, and rebooking fees, and cash, miles, and/or travel vouchers whenever they're the ones to blame for the cancellation or delay. And that's all on top of refunding the cost of your ticket.
Free food, hotels, taxis, cash miles, and new tickets.
Wow. That sounds like somebody coming across the southern border. That's your Welcome to America package.
That's awesome. I'm not even saying anything now.
Illegal entrance
I'm
fly
ending
free.
it on that.
Yes.
He also blames. All right. Well,
yeah. So that feels like a win for the consumers, which I'm going to give. If that's the takeaway that is logical to arrive at, then I'm going to give Joe credit for that. But having said that, with airline, and there's a lot of things that annoy me about airlines, but I've never had it to the point where flights were thrown off so bad, or I lost out on money, or I had some sort of cancellation. I've had a delay or two by maybe an hour. But, as much as I've traveled, by and large, the big nightmare situation, fortunately, knock on wood, I've never been subjected to.
You never want to travel with me then.
Okay.
Oh, boy,
I'm always just sitting next to the guy who smells like a ripe onion.
So we're in we have the situation we have with airlines in a large part due to going back to the vaccine, because pilots said, "Oh, I'm going to go fly cargo where I don't have to deal with annoying passengers and I don't have to get vaccinated," right? So a lot of pilots left. So now we have a pilot shortage. You have a lot of other people who work in the airlines, you know, the flight attendants, etc., all walked away as well because they didn't want to get it. So now we don't have enough people to get the planes to fly on the schedule that they currently have. So now the government comes in and says, well, because of that, you now have to spend more money to make people whole because we forced you into this position.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair.
And I was just in Florida a couple of weeks ago, about a month ago, and we were leaving on Sunday morning, bright and early, a flight out of Fort Myers. And Saturday night, got a text on my phone. My husband and I each got a text on our phone saying, by the way, your flight's been canceled.
Oh.
And we didn't get another flight until Tuesday.
Oh, you're one of those bad luck flyers, aren't you?
Oh, yeah, I got it. Oh, I have so many bad luck flight stories. One time we were flying out of Newark. They confirmed, and this is back in the day where they confirmed your reservations and you had to call up. Like, you called to make sure that you had a flight.
Yeah.
You know, just make sure. And we did 11 o'clock at night. No one who answered the phone told me that at midnight the company was going bankrupt and out of business.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Got to Newark Airport the next morning. Police, people screaming and yelling, tape, you know, the yellow tape. It was a zoo.
Yeah.
Had to ride the monorail for 6 hours while American Express tried to get us on a different flight.
Let me give you three complaints since we're on the airline industry in general.
Yeah.
Number one, moving forward, if I ruled the world, the little bottle of water and the little crappy bag of pretzels, those are free.
Yeah.
The fact that we're charging for those now is just, like, I get it. If you need a cocktail or a beer, you should have to pay $9 for it. That's fine. Water and pretzels should be free. Number two, we need to stop the
I mean, they give it to you in prison.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
You know, the other thing too, the pitching of the airline credit card, where, hey, if you sign up for this MasterCard, courtesy of Delta Airlines, you'll get 50,000 free miles. Like, I've never seen one person ever stop one of the flight attendants to sign up for one of those credit card airline travel things. That's number two. And then number three, you know how Tommy Boy and David Spade in Tommy Boy, they get on the flight and they're doing the exits are this way, the whole bit. We need to stop doing. Like, if you don't understand how to put one of those on by now, that's a you problem.
Yeah.
And number two, nobody pays attention during it. Everybody's sitting there on their iPad or their phone while these people are up there sticking inflatables over their face and the fake plastic mask with the oxygen support over their nose.
There also needs to be a more unified way of how we exit a plane, because exiting a plane is like Chinese water torture. I don't think I can say that is like American water torture.
Yeah. Hey, here's the thing. You talk about getting on. This never made sense to me. Everybody's in a rush to get on the flight, right? And then they're never in a hurry to get off when they arrive at their destination.
I know.
Why are we slow to get off?
Yep.
But you get on 40 minutes in advance, and you're sitting in the fifth row anyway. I don't understand it.
Is that worse than the people who the plane immediately touches down, and as soon as you can stand up, they're standing up waiting?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Just hovering over you. Like, you're sitting in your seat and they're just hovering over you.
Especially a guy in row 28.
Yeah.
Like, hey, bro, it's going to take like another 25 minutes. I just want you to grab a seat.
Exactly.
Sorry.
So I will tell you, one of the tricks, you get the credit card.
Yeah.
Where you get the miles.
Oh.
Then they have sales where you can buy miles for less than it would cost you if you had to get the miles through buying stuff based on the reimbursement. And you build it up. And then you stock the prices online, and you can often get, we nailed first class tickets for $100 more each.
Really?
Yes.
For $100?
More each. And then we already had upgraded to the extra legroom. We always get the extra legroom.
Okay.
Which most of the time is like $75. So for another $100, my husband, because we love to save a good dollar, and so he will get on every single day and he will check the prices, and he nailed first class tickets on a Polaris flight for $100 more each.
All right.
So you can do it.
Yeah, yeah.
You just have to work at it, and so it depends on if it's worth it to you.
Over on YouTube, by the way, we're streaming live on YouTube at 1210 WPHT. Trek 200 says, "I am one of those people who hover." Trek, stop. Just stop
Yes,
hovering.
stop it.
Yeah, stop hovering. I understand if it was the first people up can leave, but it's never like that. They dismiss by rows. It's never like that. So stop hovering. Right?
So let me get this straight. I got a tweet from Colleen. Colleen is one of these people with 42 numbers attached to their Twitter handle. Colleen 691-27957 says, "I can't believe you agree with Biden. I hate flying. There's nothing enjoyable about it anymore. However, the last I checked, POTUS isn't a king. How does anyone in government have the authority to make these rules?" I don't know what authority he has or doesn't have there, but if it means you're getting a cheaper deal or a better thing, and you're not getting screwed over by the airlines, you don't want to give Joe credit for that?
No, I think a lot of people. Are they like the separation between government and businesses. You know, like government shouldn't be telling businesses how to run their company because the government can't run itself.
Right. Well, that's true.
Juan Colaza on YouTube says, "Listening in my office. We all love 1210 WPHT and Kayal Company. We are addicted." So I guess
cool.
Whatever office Juan is in, they're listening.
Hey, that could be one of the select few offices that allows this type of content to play freely.
Mary, we had a guy who called in a few weeks ago who was calling from like his desk, and he was whispering. He's like, "Hey guys," and it was like, "Oh, you're one of those who doesn't."
I've got you on my earpods.
I have you on my earpods.
But there's a lot to be said for playing on the earpods because I don't want to hear someone else's stuff that I don't want to listen to either, right?
Like Kendrick Lamar.
So that's okay.
Yeah, you can watch us on YouTube. You can listen to us while you're pretending to work. Hey, just because your job sucks doesn't mean the radio station you listen to has to.
That's a promo right there.
Yeah,
that's a tagline.
New Philly Sports on YouTube says, "How about this administration compensating us for incompetence?" That's not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. One more, Biden blaming the airlines for passengers missing holidays with their families.
Okay.
If finalized as proposed, it would require airlines to show you the full ticket price up front before you purchase it, including fees for baggage, for internet,
for
changing your seat.
Changing your seat?
That way you can get a fuller, more accurate price before you purchase your ticket. And you can compare prices and pick the best deal. We're not stopping there. We know how frustrating delays, cancellations, and rebookings are for travelers. Last holiday season, travelers are stranded for days and had to scramble to find other ways for reaching their destinations. Many missed family gatherings, spent Christmas at an airport, waited countless hours in line or on the phone because there weren't enough pilots, there weren't enough personnel. That's unacceptable. And while flight delays...
There you go.
Boy, I tell you what, though, now it's revisionist history or going back. I mean, that stretch for Mayor Pete from mid to late December through early February, whether it was airlines, flights being grounded, people missing flights, then we had the train derailments. Like, if you're talking about just travel in general, this administration had about a 6-week stretch that I don't think any administration praise will ever happen to them.
True, but did you hear what he was talking about? The way he's going to solve this? Clearly, Joe Biden has not flown commercial, we know, in over a decade, right?
Easily.
When you go online, you can even see the seats that are available. You click on it, and it tells you how much it is.
Mm-hmm.
So he says, well, we're going to force them to tell you how much every seat costs and how much it costs to upgrade. They already do.
Right.
What's he doing?
Is there any other hidden fees that we're not told about that maybe he could be referring to? As we try to get into the mind of Joe Biden.
They tell you how much baggage costs, right? Like if you're like flying at the lowest price ticket, you have to pay extra, which is why my husband is constantly trying to see if I can cram my clothes into a carry-on.
Oh, yeah.
Right, so you don't have to check a bag.
Is he good at getting like 7 pounds of crap into a 6-pound bag?
He actually has one of those handheld weight things that you can weigh how much the bag is.
Yeah.
To make sure that we're not over the 50-pound limit.
Okay.
Right, but that's another thing. If you upgrade, if you can afford to, again, for the $100 when we upgraded, so it was $200 altogether, you get 75 pounds in the bag.
Because my wife is one of these people. She does the packing for air travel, and she'll get so much more into like one little bag or case that I can. She's also the same kind of person, and I despise these kind of people. So I do despise my wife in this regard.
Oh my God.
She gets every drop out of like a tube of toothpaste.
Yep.
Like I'll throw it away if it becomes a chore to get one or two more squeezes out for a couple of brushings, and I just open up the new one. She will legitimately make it sure that that thing is flat as a sheet of paper before it's thrown and discarded in the garbage.
It's my kind of gal.
She's one of those people. Drives me insane.
Speaking of the president, during a White House screening of the upcoming Disney show American Born Chinese on Monday.
What?
That's the name of the show, American Born Chinese, which was held in celebration of Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month.
Right.
President Joe Biden mispronounced the name of the Asian American producer for the second time in less than 2 months. So this is, I'm not going to try and pronounce the last name because I know better. However, if you are, hosting these people at the White House, maybe have your staff tell you, hey, phonetically, how do you spell this last name?
That's correct.
I just did that with a listener yesterday.
Yes.
Next week, one of the donors to the Travis Manion Foundation Radiothon that we did in March, they had a really generous donation for a playlist. So they're going to get a week of music on Kayal Company. And I couldn't pronounce his last name. And I said, hey, can you spell it phonetically so when I hand it to Nick, he can pronounce it properly.
Yeah.
Like a good staff person should do.
That's what you do.
Thank you. There we go.
Okay.
I honored a group of trailblazing artists with National Medals of Arts and Humanities.
Trail grazing.
The group included...
Anyway. Not a joke.
I'm going to start over, boys. I'm going to start over.
I honored a group of trailblazing artists with National Medals of Arts and Humanities. The group included groundbreaking Asian Americans like Vera Wang and Joan Shingang. I'm going to pronounce right. Shanga Kawawa.
Cool.
She can call me Joe Biden.
She can call me
Joe Bin.
Joe Bin. Well, John Fetterman, little Joe Bin.
Joe Bin.
She can call me Joe Bin.
Oh my God.
And Joan Shingang. I'm going to pronounce right. Shanga Kawawa.
Koala bear.
Chihuahua.
Chihuahua.
He does sound like he's doing a bad Chinese accent.
Yeah.
That one of us, if we did, we would be canceled for.
God.
He does sound like he does. Yeah.
And Joan Shingang. I'm going to pronounce right. Shanga
Jesus God.
Second time.
What the hell is going on in this world?
Second time in 2 months that this person has been to the White House, and he's mispronounced her name both times.
They're just gaslighting and trolling us every day.
Do you think
this cannot be the United States of America? This is the end result of saying, but I don't want mean tweets. No mean tweets. Donald Trump hurt my feelings.
Greg, I just want to know, do we have any video, though, of Joe Biden actually asleep during the movie that he was screening on Monday? Because we all know he did not make it through that movie awake.
Yeah. There's no chance he made that movie.
No, I probably would make it through that movie awake.
He's going to be in Rush Hour 4.
See, now we could joke, but if he did the Chinese accent, then we would be. By the way, going back to, I'm going over to cut 4 here, boys. When he was speaking about the airlines, he tried to give out a website. And gave out the wrong. He does this all the time. He gave out the wrong. He gave it out twice, and it's 2 different websites.
Okay.
First, we just launched a new website, flightsright.gov. Flightsright.gov.
Flight rights, flights right, flights right.
Well, it's you don't know.
Flightsright.gov. Flightsright.
Yeah.
You don't know if there was the S on it or not. It's like Mary Walter or Mary Walters. Yeah, you make sure you get that right. I've been in Joe's camp before.
Yeah. Get that right.
Exactly.
Speaking of repeating herself, Karine Jean-Pierre was talking about there's a debt ceiling limit or whatever meeting today. She says one word 5 times in 30 seconds.
The president's going to be as clear as he's been these last several months, as clear as I've been, as clear as other administration has been, members of the administration has been, which is they need to do their job. They need to get this done on behalf of the American people and do their jobs.
And does he think that he can successfully convince Kevin McCarthy to change his position in this meeting?
They're going to have a conversation. The president's going to make himself very clear, as he's done for several months now, since almost the beginning of this year. And he's going to be really clear about it.
You know when you stand up in front of a class, Mary, and you don't know what you're talking about, so you just repeat the same word over and over again.
Kamala Harris's speechwriters strike again, right?
Exactly.
It's just like, I know. Okay, so I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna try to be very nice here. Okay.
Yes.
Poor Karine Jean-Pierre. First of all, the poor woman is in over her head in a puddle with this. I mean, she should never have the job she has. She's totally unqualified, but she checked the identity boxes, so she got the job, right?
Yes.
Okay, and this is what diversity hiring gets you. Yep. But God bless her, she's hanging in there, right? Like, she hasn't left yet. She's still hanging in there.
No, she just drinks heavily on weekends. Like
I don't even think that happens. I think like she's like, they hired me because of my skin color and because I'm gay. Whoopee. And she's cashing her checks and she's laughing all the way to the bank. But I don't think they give her much of a briefing. Clearly, the only thing she was said was, the president's going to be very clear. That's all she was told. They're not giving her any kind of briefing. They're not giving her any kind of information that she can then use to kind of give them an idea and say something more than one sentence.
Yeah.
But maybe that's because she's not capable of taking any information they give her and communicating it in a way that the administration wants it communicated. So they give her very minimal, and then she just is incapable of adding other words to it.
As my grandmother once said, boy, she's a real doozy. Yeah. I think that's a great way to characterize not only Karine Jean-Pierre, but also Kamala Harris. Every time they get in front of that podium, it's just a major doozy.
Yeah. What are they doing about the southern border and the illegal immigration crisis that's going on there? Well, she has your answer.
Secretary Mayorkas has said he's not worried about Title 42 expiring, that you are prepared, that he feels confident. Is the president confident that you are doing everything you can to be prepared for this?
We are confident that with the tools that we have in front of us, that we are doing everything that we can. We have a robust, multi-agency plan to humanely manage the border through enforcement, deterrence, and diplomacy. And we're implementing that plan with our regional partners, using the few tools we have remaining because, again, Congress has failed to act.
Congress has failed to act. So Joe to the rescue. 1,500 troops for administrative tasks only.
She is going to just say the same thing over and over and over again, and they are masters at blaming everybody else for their problems, right?
Yes.
Well, it's Congress's fault. Oh, it's Trump's fault. It's somebody else's fault. There's nothing we can do. So I'm sorry, why are we paying you? If we've presented you with a job and you're like, sorry, can't do it, okay, then go home. How are you essential personnel at this point?
I could just see when their time is up in the White House and you have the, let's call them like the maintenance people come through and they look through the bathrooms and say, you're going to have to clean that up before you exit the facility and your lease is up. No. That stain was there from Trump. It was there when I got here. No, Trump left that stain, not us. That's the Biden administration.
Speaking of the debt ceiling debate, the debt limit, whatever it's called, she breaks it down in very simple terms about why we need to pay our debt.
Oh, I've got a thought on this.
If you buy a car, you are expected to pay the monthly payments. If you buy a home, you are expected to pay the mortgage every month.
Gotcha.
That is the expectation. That is the spending that you put forth or spending that you may have done before, and now you're paying it every month. If you do not pay your car payment, if you do not pay your mortgage payment, then your credit is going to be bad.
Oh, really?
It's going to hurt your credit. So let's look at Congress for a second. This is spending that they've already done. They've already spent. Let's not forget the $2 trillion Trump tax cuts that they were willing and happy to vote for. So we're telling them or saying to them, do your job. Pay for something that you've already spent on.
Do your job.
That's it.
Yeah.
This is spending that has already occurred. They need to do the right thing that has been done 78 times since 1960. It's that simple. It is very, very simple. It is the right thing to do. It is their constitutional duty. It is not complicated at all.
Quote, if you buy a car, you are expected to pay the monthly payment. It's that simple. So says this stooge administration that is a part of attempting to do student loan bailouts.
Bingo.
And also punishing homeowners with good credit.
Yep.
So that other people with lesser credit can get a home, and you who are fiscally responsible will now pay $40 to $60 more per month more on your mortgage, so little Johnny can buy a house and feel like I'm a homeowner too. Oh.
Yep. And this goes back to something we were talking about yesterday. This whole mortgage thing and the student loan thing and everything else. How have they not crashed the economy yet? Like, what God? What? I mean, did he sell his soul to the devil? I don't understand it. It's just amazing because, and I'm not wishing for a bad economy, but I think, if it happens, we get him out. That's what I think. If it becomes, it's the economy stupid, we get rid of him.
Yep. And to your point, like they're trying. It's almost like they're trying to crash the economy. Even when they want to wreck things, they can't.
Yep.
Even though they are, it just hasn't totally bottomed out yet.
They're trying to lose the game, but the opponent's just so bad they can't play any worse.
They're like the Sixers a decade ago where they were tanking for the first pick in the draft, and they ended up picking third.
Yeah.
They tried to lose and still couldn't get the first pick.
I don't know. Some people call that genius.
Some would. All right, that'll do it for What's on the Cut Sheet, part number 1. Part 2 coming up at 9:40 this morning. Greg Stocker, let's get to the Big 3 at 8:34.
It's the Big 3 at 8 on Kayal Company.
And it's brought to you by Hint Water, delicious fruit-infused water with no sugar or diet sweeteners. More than 25 amazing flavors, including watermelon and pineapple. It actually sounds really good right about now. In stores or delivered from hintwater.com. We start off the Big 3 at 8 with a deadly shooting involving 2 campaign workers under investigation by Philadelphia police. That's the headline with 6 ABC. Philadelphia police are investigating after a shooting left a campaign worker dead on Monday afternoon. It happened around 4:11 p.m. on the 2000 block of Church Lane in the city. Police say a 46-year-old man was shot one time. He was taken to an area hospital where he was pronounced dead. The victim has not been identified, but police tell Action News that the shooting involved 2 campaign workers who were handing out political flyers. Police say a 46-year-old worker pulled a gun on a 22-year-old worker who was also armed.
Oh, my God.
The 22-year-old then shot the man, according to investigators, saying, quote, "We believe they were working on the same team, handing out the same flyers," said Philadelphia Police Chief Inspector Scott Small. Officers say 2 handguns were recovered at the scene. Multiple witnesses are also cooperating with investigators to determine what exactly led to the shooting. With 1 week until primary elections, the 2 men reportedly canvassed the area of Church Lane on behalf of the group 1PA, founded in 2011. The group describes itself as a multiracial and multi-issue membership organization. And apparently, I'm not sure what this means, DM'd Helen Gim campaign manager comment on Twitter. So this had to do with the Helen Gim campaign.
Yeah, this was. Yeah,
there we go.
They were passing out flyers for her election for mayor.
And KYW also reporting that Helen's volunteers were involved.
Oh boy.
Of course, that's just the Cliff Note version.
Yeah.
And then also in the world of sports, the Sixers take on the Boston Celtics tonight at 7:30 for Game 5. The Phillies take on the Blue Jays with a 6:40 first pitch.
So were these volunteers like gang members or something? Was there a beef? What was happening here?
I don't have any of the details here.
You know what's interesting about this? Let's find out if they were legally carrying, right? Because isn't Helen Gim one of those big anti-gun people?
Yes.
Yeah.
That would be ironic, wouldn't it?
Right. I mean, God help the city of Philadelphia if she pulls it off next week, which obviously means she will be the next mayor because we know it's basically a one-party city at this point. Also, Philadelphia weather, currently 61 degrees, about an 18% chance of rain today. It's going to go up to about 71 degrees. It'll warm up later in the week for sure. Wednesday through Sunday should be sunny, temperatures in the 70s, maybe even hitting 80, 81 on the weekend for your Mother's Day, and that's the T-Mobile Weather Center. Actually, it's going to go up, as Dawn would say, no, it's not going to be 81, it's going to be 82. As if we could tell the difference between 81 and 82 degrees on a given day. But that's courtesy of the T-Mobile Weather Center, and that's the big 3 at 8 here on Kayal and Company. All right, coming up next, we have more school woke insanity. Universities, it's graduation time. This is the time of year, right? Daniel Valdez graduating from college. What do you think about doing a college graduation from your institution of higher learning and separating the graduations? Racial segregation for college graduation.
Cool.
Thought we were kind of past that, but apparently not. The details coming up next, Kayal and Company.
Hi, Philly. It's Emmett Smith again. If there's one thing I know about you folks, you're fierce competitors, tough as nails, even when it comes to pushing through aches and joint pain. But you don't have to waste that Philly grit dealing with pain anymore, thanks to QC Kinetics.
Like Emmett said, hand over the pain once and for all to QC Kinetics to get relief in your knees, hips, shoulders, and back without surgery or harmful medications. They use your body's own healing properties right at the source of the non-stop pain, making you feel like yourself again.
Come on now, you don't want a Dallas fella whipping up on you just because of that joint pain holding you back. Nah, this is a personal challenge from me, Emmett Smith. Take care of your business. Get relief from that pain once and for all.
Challenge accepted. Go ahead. Call QC Kinetics today.
Call QC Kinetics, 215-999-3000. That's 215-999-3000. 215-999-3000. The Dude at Dental Group, official dentist of the Philadelphia Eagles, is a proud supporter of the Talk Radio 1210 Radiothon for the Travis Manion Foundation. Dr. Dilip Dudat grew up in North Wales, graduated from North Penn High School and Temple Dental School. Today, Dr. D and his team supports our local area by providing advanced dental care using the latest technology at 30 area practices and contributes to the local economy with 250 team members. The Dudat Dental Group, proud supporter of the Travis Manion Foundation. Visit PhiladelphiaEaglesDentist.com.
Hey, genius, it's the King, Howard Eskin here. You might think of me as the king of sports media, but I think of myself as the king of grilling. I've been grilling athletes and coaches for over 30 years, but I've also been grilling for years with my Weber grill from Gerhard's Appliances. From Wi-Fi enabled technology to stainless steel burners and flavoring bars, my Weber grill from Gerhard's Appliances is the real genius. And whether it's summer or winter, it's always grilling season. Grill like a king. Go to Gerhard'sAppliances.com.
Designers, excavators, engineers, architects, listen up.
What are you doing? We're working here.
If you want to save time, effort, and money on your next underground utility project, start using Pennsylvania One Call System's Coordinate PA application. Coordinate PA is the next generation of utility coordination that allows you to easily transfer and manage your complex projects from start to finish, all the way from the designer to the excavator. Be prepared for your next underground utility project with Coordinate PA.
Makes sense.
Visit pa1call.org to learn more.
Tonight, 7:30, Philadelphia at Boston. The spread is Philadelphia plus 7.5. The money line at plus 245. I would take either of those for tonight's game. NBA playoffs. All you need to do to get in on the action right from the first tip with FanDuel Sportsbook in partnership with Valley Forge Casino. All customers can get a no-sweat same-game parlay every weekend when you bet the NBA playoffs. That's right. Just place a 3+ leg same-game parlay or same-game parlay plus on any NBA playoff game, and you'll get bonus bets back if you don't win. There's no better place to bet on all the playoff action than America's #1 sportsbook. I love the FanDuel app. Visit FanDuel.com/Greg and get a no-sweat same-game parlay every weekend of the NBA playoffs. That's FanDuel.com/Greg, G-R-E-G. FanDuel is the official sports betting partner of the NBA and is the official partner of 1210 WPHT 21 and over. President PA. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hey, Ben Salem. Tell your smart speaker play 1210 WPHT.
Kayal Company, it is 8:42 on this Tuesday morning. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. You can always stream us live on the Odyssey app. Watch us on YouTube, youtube.com/@1210 WPHT. Apparently, my wife and daughters were watching the Cut Sheet segment, and my wife just texted me, and she heard me ripping her about the toothpaste thing. My timing is impeccable, Mary.
But see, I love that about her. I do not know this woman, but I will cut the end off in order to squeeze more toothpaste out of it, right? Like, you're throwing away good product that's totally still useful. Why would you do that?
I'm entitled.
Hey, Mr. Moneybags, just making it rain.
I guess it's white privilege. I don't know. Somebody will probably be triggered by what I do. My daughter says, apparently my wife sent me a text saying she wants to know why Daddy keeps throwing his hands around in the air and getting so fired up. I'll have that conversation with you later, Olivia. They're called Democrats. That's what happens.
Oh, no.
Do the opposite of mommy.
Teach them young.
Yes. I'm going to politically indoctrinate my 8-year-olds. I can't wait.
You can do it.
Yeah, we have to, right? I mean, I got to fight back against what they're learning in school these days.
You know what you do? Just on a tangent. I know we're going off on a tangent. So one of my brother-in-laws, when his kids were young, and they'd say, "Daddy, can I have a cookie? Will you get me ice cream? He'd always bring it to them with a bite taken out of it, and tell them those were taxes.
That's funny. So that's amazing.
So did he take like 30% of the cookie, or was it 24%?
Just enough to make a point.
Just enough to make a point.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Big Al is in Mullica Hill. He's going to make a point or two, and he's with us here this morning on Talk Radio 1210. Big Al, good morning. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, I'm doing fine, thank you. I almost drove off the road when somebody said give Biden a little credit. Give him a little credit for what? Trying to rectify all the problems that he has created. For example, we're starting to talk elections now.
Yep.
So now people are going to remember he sent 1,500 troops down to the border to fight the border. No, he didn't. After he's already left 10 million people in the country, illegals.
Yeah.
And then who's going to pay for the vouchers with these airlines? They're going to raise the rates and raise the baggage fees. The people are going to pay for all those vouchers. And he created that problem by requiring people to get the shot. And now all of a sudden it's over, and now there's no requirements for that. And then the third thing I want to say is Rowan University is not letting my friend's daughter walk because she's not vaccinated.
Are you serious?
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
That's amazing.
So, Rowan, right here locally.
Welcome to America.
Oh, my goodness. Big Al, that's just unvaccinated? Can't walk?
I mean, again, I told you yesterday I was banned from a family graduation, a family wedding shower, and a family wedding because I am pure-blooded. And, I was going to kill people if I showed up.
Yeah, you
and
were.
One of them was in October. And I kind of thought even by then we were kind of done with this. Like, kind of even but the crazies, I guess, are never done.
No, because they can't let go of whatever little power they obtained over the last 3 years. And they love having control and power. And it doesn't even matter where the graduation is, inside or outside. You can't walk.
If we're doing all segregated graduations now,
Yes.
right? Can't we have one for the purebloods?
Yeah, can we do our graduation based on we'll let the vaccinated walk together and then and then the unvaccinated. Yeah, let's just divvy it up into like 30 different graduations per school.
But this way, the unvaccinated people won't kill any of the vaccinated.
Of course, you don't want to kill any grandmothers seeing their grandchild graduate college because they haven't seen them in 3 years.
It would be sensitive and the right thing to do.
So this is from the Daily Caller. More universities jumping on the trend of holding race-based graduation events.
Oh, man.
Several universities are holding individual graduation events to celebrate students, and here's the word again, who identify as a specific race or sexual orientation. I'm so sick of the word identify. Oh, I identify. I don't care what you identify as. The events are held separate from the larger commencement ceremony and aim to recognize students in a smaller environment. Multiple colleges, and the list goes on from, and these are some in red states, some in blue states. You have the University of Oklahoma. You have Illinois State University, Georgetown University, California Polytechnic State University, or Cal Poly for short, Arizona State University, which is once dubbed the #1 party school in the country, Grand Valley State University, and of course you got to throw in the Ivy League, Harvard University. So, if you're black, if you're Asian, if you're Hispanic, I'm sure you're going to have separate graduations based on your background. That doesn't seem very diverse and inclusive, does it? I mean, every time the left comes up with one of their nonsensical cliches and narratives, they immediately shoot themselves in the foot and look like total hypocrites.
Well, it also doesn't seem very legal. I mean, there is that little nugget in there. According to a member of the U.S. Commission on Civil Rights, his name is Peter Kirsanow, and he is a lawyer. He said he actually sent a letter to Illinois State University last week and to Georgetown, saying that the Civil Rights Act of 1964 bars them as recipients of government funding from offering programs like this because they exclude white students. You cannot exclude based on race.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not legal, but they're going to do this. But it's not just race. There's also some based on sexual orientation. As you said, income. There's one for the disadvantaged. Some schools are having disadvantaged. Some schools are having them for first time, like in your family, the first person to ever go to college. Mm-hmm. They have a separate graduation. But may I just say my favorite is from UCLA and UC Berkeley.
Oh, this should be good.
Members of the University of California system, right?
Uh-huh.
They're hosting Filipinx and Filipino ceremonies.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's part of a, quote, linguistic revolution. In other words, they're just changing the way we speak because I noticed, Nick, even you use the term cisgendered now. Yeah. I refuse to use that term. You will not control my language.
Wow. Good for you.
I refuse. Do not even come to me with that nonsense because I'm not listening to you then.
Here's a quote. Segregated graduations divide the student body at exactly the time that students should celebrate their common achievements at their alma mater. Adam Kissel, visiting fellow on higher education reform at the Heritage Foundation, says, telling the Daily Caller the following: segregated events make the sadly common mistake of presuming that people with the same racial identity should be treated separately because their races make them essentially the same. Americans overcame segregation long ago, but too many colleges are bringing it back. Everything I've heard from the Biden administration, remember their whole mantra was, Joe's going to unite the country. We're going to heal our nation. And all they have done, and it trickles down into, universities and academia on down through every other major institution in this country, is separate everybody into 28 different little boxes, right? So what are we going to do next? Breaking news, Temple University's Fox School of Business has decided to have graduations with straight cis white males in one room and anybody that identifies as transgender in the other room. Like, what are we doing here? Just stick everybody together.
No, because that's part of the plan is if you can get us to fight amongst each other and keep us like looking at who's in what group, and this way we never come together to see what the government's doing. Because we're too busy fighting each other. Cal Poly is hosting a monarch commencement because the lavender commencements are for the alphabet, LGBTQIA, those people. The monarch commencement, quote, uplifts the academic accomplishments and personal successes of the undocumented and the documented. Mm-hmm. And Cal Poly and UC Davis are offering black graduates kente stoles to wear over their robes. But fun fact about the kente cloth, it goes back to, and I know this is deep in the weeds and I apologize, but when I see something like that, I have this weird need to look it up.
Okay.
So the kente cloth actually goes back to what is now Ghana with the Ashanti tribe. I think it's the Ashanti region of what is now Ghana. And it was given, the Ashanti, it was made out of silk, so it was very, very expensive. They got their money from warring with neighboring tribes and enslaving those people and then selling them to the Dutch and other countries, mostly in the Nordic regions. So it is the cloth that was worn by the slave traders who were black in that section of Africa, which is now Ghana. So since we have to tear down everything in history that doesn't meet today's standards,
Correct.
I do find the whole kente cloth thing a tad hilarious.
And by the way, Ashanti will be doing a collaboration with Kendrick Lamar later this week.
And to be fair, there are some people who say that that's not true, but they want to twist it to make it not true. But that's where we go to. So there you go. Fun little in the weeds fact for me.
No, that was good information. Thank you very much. But let me just make this point, just to point out the absurdity of the segregated college graduations at these universities. Could you imagine if they did this at a sporting event? This just illustrates how absurd this is. Imagine going to an Eagles game and they say, hey, 65,000 Eagle fans, today, as we take on the Dallas Cowboys, we are going to segregate our fan base. We're going to have black people sitting from the 40 to the 30 on this side, white people on the 40 to the 30 on this side, Hispanics, you get this end zone, the Asian community, you can sit in this end zone, and then everybody else will kind of scatter around the top in the nosebleeds. Like, this is where I give sports credit. When you go to a sporting event, we're not white or black, gay or straight, Democrat or Republican. Like, when you go to a sporting event, we're all Eagles fans. We're all Sixers fans, excluding the Cowboy weasels in this city that somehow still get tickets. But, nobody cares how you identify at this. So why would it matter how you identify on a day where you should feel great about getting that degree, and also stupid that you're going to be in debt for the next 41 years of your life? It's maddening. It feels like it's completely the opposite of what we were trying to get past, 50 and 60 years ago, 70 years ago.
Sporting events and the seating are the ultimate inequity. You can punch anybody of any color.
That's true.
Yes.
Thank you. We can all... On the link on a Sunday, you'll find a bunch of people who just have the same cause. We all love the Eagles and hate the Cowboys.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And half of us are drunk.
Most of us are drunk.
Most of us are drunk. 855-839-1210. Big final hour is coming up next. We've got our morning mystery movie clip. What's on the cut sheet part 2. And speaking of Jaws, Richard Dreyfuss now hates one of the requirements with the Oscars. We're going to give you that story. We got a couple of stories in the world of the trans situation that continues to be a hotbed topic in this country. And also something unbelievably disgusting from a hotel. We will tell you about that because I've actually done a remote from this hotel.
What?
Yes, indeed.
Oh, no.
Stay tuned. Final hour. Kayal Company on the way. Nick, Mary, and Greg. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Live life to the fullest. Yeah, you hear that all the time, but it's easier said than done when you're in pain. Hey, Dawn Stensland here. QC Kinetics really does give people all over our region back their quality of life by providing much-needed relief for chronic joint pain. Doing it in the most non-invasive way possible using regenerative treatments from your body's own natural biologics. QC Kinetics concentrates these impactful treatments right at the source of your pain, directly applying healing properties where you need them the most. No surgery, no downtime, no steroids or harmful drugs, and patients are raving about the results. What does living life to the fullest look like for you? Finally being able to play golf, walk your dog, enjoy time with your family, or just do your job without pain, whatever it is. Don't wait one more day. Call QC Kinetics for your complimentary consultation with locations around the Philadelphia region. 215-999-3000, 215-999-3000. Tell them Dawn sent you.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 103.9 FM.
Police are searching for 2 prisoners who escaped a Philadelphia jail Sunday night. A political canvasser for a nonprofit that endorsed Helen Gim for mayor shot and killed another worker while going door to door. And President Biden is planning to meet with congressional leaders today to talk about the debt ceiling.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
Designers, excavators, engineers, engineers, architects, listen up.
What are you doing? We're working here.
If you want to save time, effort, and money on your next underground utility project, start using Pennsylvania One Call System's Coordinate PA application. Coordinate PA is the next generation of utility coordination that allows you to easily transfer and manage your complex projects from start to finish, all the way from the designer to the excavator. Be prepared for your next underground utility project with Coordinate PA.
Makes sense.
Visit pa1call.org to learn more.
This is Larry Steinhess of Investor Schooling. I am so proud to announce the continuing success of our students at Investor Schooling. You already know that at Investor Schooling, we teach real estate investing and stock options. Did you also know that we teach things about tax savings, estate planning, and business coaching as well? We teach things about money I bet you never knew. At Investor Schooling, we teach from the perspective of true experience. If you want to see what our students think about Investor Schooling, please check out the over 160 5-star Google reviews. To find out more about how you can change your financial life, go to investorschooling.com or call 866-424-2829. That's 866-424-2829, and you can attend a complimentary class this Thursday at 7 p.m. Attend that class and see for yourself what Investor Schooling is all about. Go to investorschooling.com or call 866-424-2829. That's 866-424-2829. We can't wait to see you this Thursday.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. I often tell you about my buddy Roy with 2 big stores at Batteries Plus Bulbs, Mount Laurel and Northfield. Here's a review from Matt. This is word by word. Here's what he said. It's a great place to grab any batteries or phone repairs. I work with a fleet of vehicles. This place has had batteries from cars to pickups to heavy-duty tractor batteries. The owner's a nice guy. He's not afraid to come out and give great advice. And if they don't have your battery, typically the next day they can get it. Customer service is the key when you visit them. They power it, they light it, they fix it. Mount Laurel and Northfield, Batteries Plus Bulbs.
The exclusive crash-proof retirement system continues to be tried, true, and proven by over 5,000 crash-proof consumers.
I am Nancy Harding. This is my husband, Robert. With the crash-proof system, we are inflation-proof.
To offset inflation, we could take more cash out. The rest of our system will continue to grow.
And at a faster rate than we take it out. It makes his sleep, hence my sleep, so much better.
Only crash-proof consumers can truly attest to the benefits of the exclusive crash-proof retirement system. Detractors have muddied the waters about our system for years because they can't match the guarantees delivered by our proprietary system. Our consumer advocates tailor every aspect of the exclusive crash-proof retirement system to your goals, including our inflation fighters, which can increase your income up to 15% without depleting your nest egg. It's vital that you come straight to the source and get the truth. 800-722-9728 or visit crashproofretirement.com.
WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Heart failure, carpal tunnel syndrome, shortness of breath, stomach issues, lower back pain. How does it all add up? If you have heart failure and any of those seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, it's time to talk with your cardiologist and get the full picture. They may add up to transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy. ATTR-CM is a rare and underdiagnosed disease. Recognize the signs and discuss them with your doctor soon. Learn more at connectwithyourheart.com. That's connectwithyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Listen on your schedule. Anytime. Just go to 1210 WPHT on the Odyssey app and search the Kayal Company podcasts.
Kayal Company as we continue. 4th and final hour on a Tuesday morning here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. You can always stream us on the free Odyssey app. You can watch us live on YouTube, youtube.com/@1210WPHT. Subscribe, hit the like button, get the notifications. When we go live, you'll be notified. Kaboom, you're in, just like you're watching us on TV. We got a lot coming up the final hour. Our morning mystery movie clip just under 18 minutes away. What's on the cut sheet part 2. Who won Twitter today? Michael Pelka will tell us what's coming on at 10 o'clock today as he fills in for Dawn. Dawn will be back again tomorrow. Did we reach your 2.72 goal of YouTube subscribers?
We're at 2.73 right now.
Oh man!
So we are cruising along.
Okay.
Let me just refresh the. Let me just refresh it here.
Rough math. We're about 270 away from 3,000.
Yeah, we are. We're at 2.73. So let's hope. So those of you that tune in late to this program, first of all, where have you been?
Yes. Because as you know,
we start at 6 a.m. We do 6:02 sometimes.
Yes.
Most days. But we're at 2.73 right now. Let's tick that up to 2.74. Let's try and get there by 10 a.m. before Opelka takes over for Dawn at 10 a.m.
Yep.
Let's try and get to 2.74 at 1210 WPHT on YouTube, youtube.com/at1210WPHT. Hit that subscribe button.
Yes, and we are just about 33 minutes away from Mary Walter dropping her connection.
No.
Hey, wait. I did not drop that connection.
That's true.
I can't tell you how many shows I did remotely in it when I was living in Nashville, working for Odyssey in Atlanta, where my connection would drop. It happened. It had to be like once a week when I was doing 5 days a week for a stretch, and it's just like, you think we would have that figured out in this day and age of technology, but like in radio, it still happens from time to time.
Yeah, a lot of it is not in our control.
Yeah,
like yesterday was a Comcast issue. So blame Comcast.
Another liberal company. They're trying to sabotage.
They
Did
are.
KYW have any anchors that were remotely dropped?
No. First it's the EVs taking out AM radios in their cars. Yep. Now it's Comcast dropping
accesses.
Yeah.
Scumbags.
Yeah.
All right. This segment brought to you by Best Work Industries for the Blind. Best Work Industries for the Blind's e-commerce store is helping businesses succeed in all work environments. BestWorkSupplyCenter.com offers traditional office products, cleaning supplies, furniture, technology, and more with free shipping and next-day delivery. Shop now and save at bestworksupplycenter.com. So Anthony Dorenzo, future CEO of Odyssey and mayor of Philadelphia, just handed me this. We got a post from Donald Trump on Truth Social, and he posted this at 8:22 this morning.
Must have been listening to the cut sheet.
I think he was.
Yep.
I mean, a lot of people do.
Yep.
You never know. Trump's got the Odyssey app. Comes in pretty well at the Mar-a-Lago complex. He says, I'll be doing CNN tomorrow night live from the great state of New Hampshire because they are rightfully desperate to get those fantastic Trump ratings once again. They made me a deal I couldn't refuse. Could be the beginning of a new and vibrant CNN with no more fake news, or it could turn into a disaster for all, including me. Let's see what happens, shall we? Wednesday night, 8 o'clock. Now, let me ask you this, Mary, because you've been in the TV side of things, as Dawn has. What do you think the offer was to Donald Trump that he says they made me a deal I couldn't refuse? First of all, do you think he's being compensated for this?
No, I don't think it's being compensated, because if you're compensated, then it has to. I think it has to say something on the chyron about like that's the difference between a commentator and a contributor.
Mm-hmm.
Like a contributor is someone who's being paid.
That's correct.
Whereas a commentator is not.
Right.
So I doubt that they're going to compensate Trump. Maybe it was he got to choose who the person was who was going to be asking the questions. Hence,
yes.
Caitlin Collins.
Do you think Collins is his handpicked choice?
I would think if it is, that was probably a good idea on his part, just because like we said earlier, I just don't think that she can stand up to him. She's not, Greg had suggested Wolf Blitzer. Mm-hmm. I think Wolf Blitzer would be much more capable of handling Trump than Caitlin Collins. She just needs more time in the seat. She's just not seasoned yet.
So it's interesting because we talk about whether or not she can handle him. And I believe we talked about this last week when Dawn was on the air with us. And I said, well, doesn't it kind of work both ways as far as this thing going off well? Because CNN, they don't want to try to completely bulldoze Donald Trump because they're trying to repair their image. Mm-hmm. They're trying to rebrand. And I don't think they're ever going to gain, respect or trust from conservatives, but at least giving the platform for the opposing party. And conversely, I think Trump has something to gain from this, from the standpoint of, sure. And look, I don't think if he decides to steamroll Caitlin Collins and go on the all the hoaxes and go through his bit. I'm totally fine with that because a lot of things that Trump accused his adversaries of doing, he's been proven right on over the last 3 years. But I do think if you can somehow set the ego aside and see, I told you this was going to happen, or this did happen, or this was truthful. If you can set that aside and not just completely steamroll Caitlin Collins, I think it also could go and work in Trump's favor as well. So I think both parties here have something to gain based on how it plays out and the way it plays out.
Yes, 100%. I agree with you, not to steal Greg's line. But sorry. I really wish, I hope, fingers crossed, Trump does not relitigate 2020. Let's look at 2024, and we could deal with that later. Yep. I know he feels aggrieved, and rightly so. And I know he feels that he was robbed, and rightly so. But they're not going to pull Biden out of office. It's done. So I want to hear him talk about his vision for the future of this country, how he's going to right the ship after 4 years of Biden. What are we going to do with all the illegals, the millions and millions of illegals that are in this country now? That's what I want to hear from him. Please don't relitigate 2020 or I'm turning it off.
So essentially, he needs to take Kamala Harris's advice and be unburdened by the
president.
By the president.
Because yesterday was today, which was the future at the time.
Kamala Harris actually pays off philosophically for once. How about that?
So do drugs every now and then, okay?
Yeah, well, yes. And then when it comes to this whole situation on Wednesday night, I'm going to be curious to see the way the other networks cover it, because this is a CNN exclusive. So how they react on Fox, how they react on MSNBC. This is going to be, what plays out Wednesday night, I can already tell you, will be in some shape or form my big take on Thursday morning. So you're going to have CNN, and then legitimately they could get ripped by both sides. MSNBC could sit there and go super left wing and criticize CNN, and then Fox obviously can dig in at CNN if CNN tries to steamroll Trump. So I think the media coverage of this, and not just with those two networks, but, the ABC Newses of the world, the CBS, whether Newsmax picks it up, and every other, Twitter writer and blogger out there. I mean, this is going to be, actually, let me ask you the question, because I don't know this to be a fact. Do you think this will be a ratings hit for CNN? Or is it they have no audience anyway and people are tired of Trump? What do you think?
No, I think this was brilliant. I think this was really smart on CNN's move, on CNN's part of, as you said earlier, to rehab their image. I do think it brings viewers into them. I think a lot of people are going to turn into them. And listen, I'm one of those people who in the morning will watch MSNBC just because I don't want to live in an information bubble. I think that's really dangerous. So I do like to see what all sides are talking about and how stories are being presented, because I think it helps me make my choices a little bit more informed. That being said, CNN is the last place I go, right? Because they are so biased. But I am going to tune into this.
Yeah.
So if they can somehow rehab their image, and really, if they don't steamroll him tonight and hit him with a whole bunch of got you questions and opinion, I think they do well.
Some instant feedback here. JK on the YouTubes says no ratings for CNN. You could not pay me to watch, even with Trump there. So interesting there from JK. Renee writes, since you're doing the YouTube thing now, I'm going to suggest that Kale gets a ring light or something. The lighting in his studio isn't flattering. I disagree with that. I think the lighting in your studio is amazing.
Is it?
I hate the lighting in this studio.
Well, you're all like, you're a little on the dim side in there. Trust me.
He means lighting-wise. Don't take it any other way, Greg. He meant lighting.
That for many, many, many years. I'm fine with
So
that.
is she saying that it could be brighter in my studio? Because you don't want that.
The light is coming from the top of your of you and reflecting off your head, as opposed to coming under.
Well, that's because God shines down on me.
Under light is fantastic. That's the best. But if you can't get that, then you do need some kind of light.
They also now, so for 7 months when I couldn't see in the studio because the sun was blinding me, They never put the blinds down out in the hallway. Now that we're on YouTube, the blinds go down every morning in like the 7 o'clock hour.
Yes.
But I can make it much brighter in here because we've got like basically like TV lighting to some extent in here with these fluorescent, almost purple lavender tinted lights.
Yeah.
But when I put those on, I get a headache.
No, the lighting in your studio is amazing. Although in the shot behind you, there's like a squirt bottle. You need to take that out of it.
Well, that's how I cool down after the cut sheet. A couple of mists across the forehead.
Steve writes, I think you have many Delaware listeners. Would you please remind them to vote in today's election?
Okay.
This is a chance to start to take our school boards back from the progressive kooks.
There you go.
So if you're in Delaware, get out there and vote today to take back the school boards from, as Steve says, the progressive kooks.
Okay. Yeah, I'm all for that.
Yeah.
Progressive kooks in Delaware, progressive kooks in Jersey, and certainly here in the suburbs now in Pennsylvania. 855-839-1210, the number. Morning Mystery Movie clip coming up in 8 minutes. I mentioned Jaws star Richard Dreyfuss. You might remember him as Matthew Hooper in Jaws, is now going on a rant about the Oscars and how they have these new inclusion standards where if you don't meet a diversity, equity, and inclusion standard, you will not qualify for the possibility to win an Oscar. So this is courtesy of Outkick.com. Actor Richard Dreyfuss believes that the inclusion standards for the Oscars are absolutely insane and stupid, which I would agree with that. You should, regardless of what your cast looks like or consists of, good content is good content. Films hoping to win Best Picture at the Oscars must adhere to new guidelines mandating a certain percentage of the cast as well as the crew be from minority groups, according to the Oscars website. Films also need to meet the thresholds for the LGBTQ plus community, disabled characters, and female characters. Could you imagine this? Let me just pinpoint and focus in on disabled characters for a moment. So if you don't have a certain quota hit, first, like somebody potentially in a wheelchair, your film will not win an Oscar? Is that what I gather here? And apparently, Dreyfuss is just one of these guys who says, hey, let the film stand on its merit alone, regardless of, having to, quote, check off all of these boxes. This is I knew the Oscars was woke. I didn't know that they mandated certain things for you to be in the running for these awards, though.
Yeah, and a lot of it has to do with support crew and staff behind the scenes type positions. So I will take these people seriously when they mandate this for sports teams. Until they mandate this for sports teams, I don't buy any of it. Go away with it.
Okay, so now as far as mandating it for sports teams, you mean what? Explain.
Well, you have to have, based on the proportion of race, it's everything else.
Mm-hmm.
We need more. How many black people are in the NHL?
Okay,
right?
Yeah.
That's terrible. That's a horrible thing.
If you listen to those people,
why is that such a white sport?
Could you imagine that in sports? Where all right, we're going to field the football team, and the new rules here in the NFL are as follows. You can only have 7 of your 11 starters on offense be white. The other 4 must consist of another ethnic group.
Yep.
And this is, again, why when I hear all the diversity, equity, inclusion, mumbo-jumbo nonsense, I just hit people back with one word: merit. I mean, if you are running a business, and I've used this example before, and you're launching a small business, you are in a position where, okay, I'm opening up Nick's barbecue joint, and I can afford to hire 10 people, a couple of cooks, a hostess, a couple of waiters, and somebody to handle the financials or do the books or whatever. I'm not sitting here and saying, okay, all right, I want to have 5 white people, 3 black people, 1 Asian or Hispanic, and I need somebody with purple hair and a nose ring. I'm not going through that. I want the 10 best people, regardless of their race, their religion, their gender, their sexual orientation, or any other way that they want to identify. If 8 of the 10 best employees that I interview are bisexual, then so be it. If 7 of the 10 best employees that I interview are black, then so be it. I'm in the business of making money. That's my bottom line. And especially in this example, as a small business owner, it's your livelihood. And I think a lot of people under the small business example think that small business owners live like this lavish life. Like, no, they have the autonomy to be their own bosses, but a lot of them are living, relatively paycheck to paycheck, So again, I am just so opposed to all of these ridiculous buzzwords because that's not what capitalism is based off of. It's about merit, the best people for the best jobs. And oh, by the way, the hardest working people. Like your skill plus your work ethic usually leads to the opportunity, right? I mean, sometimes, being in the right place at the right time, knowing the right person, maybe you're the ideal fit for the job. And sometimes they don't give it to the best person. I can't tell you how many times in radio I've had just introductory emails to programmers and sent my demo. And I knew that I was the best guy for this job. And my resume probably would prove that. But they didn't deem me to be the ideal fit for what their vision was. Which, okay, that's fine. I totally get that.
Until you met me.
Until I met Greg Stocker. And then we fell in love. But Mary, this whole you got to meet the standards is just absurd. Sorry to go on that tangent, but
no. I don't think there are very many people, especially listening to this show, who disagree with you because how much time do we spend mocking the Biden administration, which is a textbook hiring of diversity and not merit?
Yeah. You're exactly right. You know what I would do? If I was doing a small business startup seminar, I would do one of those slideshow Microsoft PowerPoint presentations. And I would say, here's what you don't want to do. And I would have 5 slides. I would have Joe. I would have Kamala. I would have Karine Jean-Pierre. I would have Pete Buttigieg. And who's another clown that's up there just based on identity? Who am I missing off the top of my head?
Mayorkas?
Mayorkas. Yeah, we'll throw Mayorkas in there as well. And I would say this is exactly what you get when you just do it to appease people's feelings as opposed to the best people for the job. And then I'd have one number on the next slide. 36%. And that would be the approval rating of Joe Biden and this administration. And I would say, do you want your business to have a 36% positive feedback review when they search you on Google? Or do you want 9 out of 10 reviews to be really good? Well, if you want 9 out of 10 reviews to be really good, then hire the best people for the best job. It's that simple. I just solved the whole crisis right there. That's what I do.
One more instant feedback before we get on to the Morning Mystery Movie Clip. This is in discussion of when we're discussing Tucker Carlson and what is next for him. Aaron writes, I don't know if this is your sister, Aaron.
I hope not.
I don't think it is.
Okay.
Because I think this is an interesting discussion to have. Tucker has all those hours of January 6th tapes that Fox News would not let him release, so he'll need an outlet to release all this information before the election. My question for you guys does he himself have it, or are they the property of Fox News?
I don't think they're the property of anything. They're public domain, aren't they?
Well, yes.
Because remember, the left started going nuts saying, hey, why did Tucker get these tapes? And Tucker was like, you've had 2 years to get them. You didn't want them.
But it was the Fox News producers that picked through all of those hours of tapes, right?
Yes.
So
I don't think he was told what he could air or couldn't. I think they aired whatever fit with Tucker and his opinion, right?
I would assume so. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
I mean, I would
think
assume
it's a good question.
Yeah.
I would assume that the video, all the raw footage is just the property of technically the government because they're the government cameras, but they're free and available for people to file. What was the Freedom of Information Act, right?
But Kevin McCarthy turned those over to Tucker Carlson.
Yes.
That was his choice to turn those over to Tucker Carlson because many people filed FOIA requests and didn't get them.
Oh.
And I believe Fox filed FOIA requests as well, and Kevin McCarthy chose to give them to Tucker to be released.
Okay.
So that's my question. Did Kevin McCarthy hand it over to Tucker Carlson himself or Fox News?
He probably handed them over, from what I understand, to Tucker's producers.
Okay.
And that's how they got into his hands. And he had a team of people that was working on them, going through, I think it was something like 44,000 hours of video, going through them to find things like Brian Sicknick and the one night of video that we saw, and then, of course, nothing after that.
So then I guess it would be, he did technically hand them over to Fox News because his producers are employees
work for Fox.
of Fox.
And to Mary's point, the producers work for Fox. So I don't know if he has access to that or not. Because
he may not.
I've heard Glenn Beck say that he wants to release them as well, but he doesn't have access to them.
Well, see, and that's why I was basing my answer of, if you want them, you can have them, because I heard Glenn Beck when he interviewed Tucker saying, can I have these tapes? And Tucker was like, sure, I guess. I don't see why you couldn't. We just put in the request.
But then my question is why has no other conservative outlet released them if they could?
I have no idea.
You would think that they would be all over that, right?
Well, they're from private government cameras, right? From inside the Capitol. So you could make the argument, though, that we, the people, pay for the Capitol. We, the people, pay for those cameras. We pay for all of that. But the government lawyers wouldn't even turn over those tapes to defendants in January 6th trials, where defendants could say, look at this is what's happening on camera. I didn't touch that police officer. They wouldn't even turn over that so that they could use it as evidence because it was too dangerous. They're keeping us safe. So that's a very gray area and a good question. I don't think we know the answer.
9:22 Tuesday morning, time for the morning mystery movie clip.
And now, the morning mystery movie clip on Kayal Company, Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
A danger to the cavalry is acceptable. Agree.
They say no.
People should know when they're conquered.
Think you know what it is? Be caller 12 at 855-839-1210, and you could win this great prize.
Oh, come on. This should be a pretty easy one. Caller 12, 855-839-1210. You will win a $50 gift certificate to the Metro Diner. Can you identify that movie clip? And can you be caller 12 with the correct answer at 855-839-1210? If so, $50 Metro Diner gift certificate is yours. We're back after this. Kayal Company here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Hey, it's Rich. It's only 40 days up to 40 pounds. Just say it with me. 40 days up to 40 pounds. The warmer weather is here. It's time to shed that winter fat and be slimmer before summer. Stop covering up with oversized sweatshirts and contact NJ Diet. They will contractually guarantee you'll lose 20 to 40 plus pounds in only 40 days. They use your hair, saliva, and blood work, along with bioenergetic scans to personalize natural solutions and supplements that get your body into the fat-burning zone, so you can finally lose that weight. Then NJ Diet uses DNA info to help you keep it off. The best part, it's contractually guaranteed. You're fully supervised the entire time to make sure you're burning fat and not just losing water. You even get the doctor's personal email and phone number. So what are you waiting for? Book your consultation today by calling 855-5NJ-DIET or going to njdiet.com. Lose 20 to 40 plus pounds in just 40 days. njdiet.com.
Finding great people to hire is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. It's pretty difficult, right? Well, ZipRecruiter has mastered finding a needle in a haystack, so they take it to the next level. They make hiring so simple that it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. And that's why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Here's what it's like to use ZipRecruiter. They have so many qualified candidates that it's easier to find the right ones for your roles. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's a lot of needles. So how do they do it? ZipRecruiter's powerful technology sends you candidates who are a great match for your job, and you can even invite your top choices to apply. So if you want less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hi, Eagles fans. Merrill Reese here to tell you about the Eagles Autism Challenge, presented by Lincoln Financial Group. This annual ride, run, walk event supports autism research and programming. You get the chance to spend time with your favorite Eagles players and coaches. It all takes place on Saturday, May 20th at Lincoln Financial Field. With your support, we can help transform the lives of individuals affected by autism. Register today at eaglesautismchallenge.org.
In business, everything your employees do impacts your brand, including what they wear. Cintas has high-performance workplace apparel for almost every job imaginable. From work shirts and pants, to polos and khakis, to Oxfords or T-shirts, these clothes move, breathe, and look great. Your team gets the styles they like, you convey the image you want. And Cintas service includes weekly laundry and delivery. To learn more, visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
At SimpliSafe, we know during a break-in, every second counts. So our home security system is powered by 24/7 professional monitoring agents who use Fast Protect technology, only from SimpliSafe, to capture video evidence and verify a threat for fast police response. Now, install SimpliSafe your way. Do it yourself or have an expert set it up for you with new Pro Install. Get 20% off any new system with interactive monitoring at simplisafe.com/radio. There's no safe like SimpliSafe.
The MLB app. Your team, your players, your home for live streaming baseball.
And what a way to start!
Customize your home feed with your favorite team. Get personalized stats, highlights, stories, breaking news, and follow your team on game day. 3D replays and live streams add a new dimension to the game. Plus, free live streaming programming every day. The MLB app. Make it your home for all things baseball. Download for free from the App Store or Google Play. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission.
Hi guys, it's Mark. Are you struggling with ED? Did you know that a major medical breakthrough is now available and it isn't a pill? Today, Tuesday, we're running a one-day special you won't want to miss out on. Oak Hills Medical Clinic uses the most powerful form of wave therapy. This is a technology clinically shown to repair blood vessels and improve blood flow. It's backed by 60 clinical studies, including from Cambridge. If you're ready to regain that spark in the bedroom, today is your day. Call us now and you'll qualify for the assessment and ultrasound totally free. You'll also get a gift that can produce rapid and powerful results in the bedroom in minutes. You're gonna love that one, guys. Trust me. And today only, we're offering 5 tune-up treatments to our patients free. This is an unprecedented offer worth hundreds of dollars, but call today and qualify totally free. Call 215-302-9999. That's 215-302-9999. Guys, put a stop to your ED and get your life back. Call Oak Hills Medical Clinic now to qualify. This offer ends today. 215-302-9999.
There are over 10,000 reasons why steel is not sold at Lowe's or Home Depot. There are over 10,000 authorized local steel dealers. Find yours at steelusa.com. Lowe's and Home Depot are trademarks of their respective companies.
You got the alert this morning. Now get the whole story. Count on NBC 10 News today.
It's more than just headlines. It's news to get you ready for your day.
If you need motivation, here we go. We've got your playbook.
The most accurate hour-by-hour weather forecasts.
Traffic info to get you there and back easier. It's all you need to get up, get ahead, and stay ahead.
Make your mornings count with NBC 10 News today. Count on it.
Listen on your schedule. Anytime. Just go to 1210 WPHT on the Odyssey app and search the Kayal Company podcasts.
Oh, a little new imaging. I like that one there. Search the Kayal Company podcast. Oh, no, our movie guy just dropped. Oh, boy.
He was tired of waiting.
Well, we had a guy in Souderton on the line that was ready to answer the morning mystery movie clip, and either he got impatient or he hit a dead spot.
Souderton, lovely this time of year.
It is. Give us a call back. I think it was Rob from Souderton who had the correct answer.
It's fine. Let's just say what the movie was.
Do I have the email for that? Yes, I do. Gladiator was the movie.
There we go.
From the year 2000. Yeah. Top box office hit in May of 2000.
Wow.
It's hard to believe that was 23 years ago.
That's why we chose it today. Because,
yeah.
Okay.
It's either that or it's like one of the actors' birthdays.
Yeah.
Is usually what Dorenzo does. He's probably got one of those websites where like you hear like FM music hack morning shows say, hey, do you want to do celebrity birthdays today? It's Rob Schneider's 43rd birthday.
And then you give some factoid about them.
God.
Like, you know what? I really loved him in...
Such a played out thing. Oh, my God. All right, so congratulations. I believe it was Robin Saturn, probably has the correct answer. I'm sure we have his information already. And the movie was Gladiator. We do have some instant feedback coming in on Twitter in regards to some of the college graduation stories. Traffic Guy checks in on Twitter, and he says, I am flying west to attend my niece's graduation from one of my alma maters, UC Berkeley, Graduate School of Public Health, on Monday night. So far, no vaccine mandate since it's outdoors in the legendary Greek theater. But then again, it's California, so who knows? Yeah, California could easily be... If there's one state that's immediately going to jump back into the COVID orders, do we think it's Pennsylvania, New York, or California, Mary? I'm going to throw a couple of bucks on California.
Yeah, I'm with you. California will, followed by all the other governors that want to be California. So New Jersey, New York, Illinois, the usual suspect, Pennsylvania, the usual suspects.
Yes. Also on Twitter, Data Dave checks in. He says, this is why I love working construction. And he sends what looks to be the back of a construction vehicle because I can see the license plate. And he's got an InfoWars sticker. And he also has another emblem or decal. It says assume the position, and it's got a human being bent over with a gas pump going up his keister, as in you're getting screwed on the prices of gases. Do you think the construction industry is worried about diversity, equity, and inclusion for their hiring standards?
Yeah, I'm going to go with a hard no, but can we get back to that bumper sticker for just a
Yes.
second?
Do you see it?
It's open to a lot of interpretation.
Yes.
You gotta be careful riding around with that.
Yeah.
It might send the wrong message.
I
just
agree.
saying.
I agree. Yeah, well,
You might want to double think, especially if it's an actual bumper sticker.
Yeah.
Like if you actually really put it on your car.
Yeah.
You might want to put it on like a magnet first,
Right.
and then put it on, because then you can take it off if you rethink it.
Yeah. Now, I'm assuming Dave has put out the picture with his license plate attached to it at the bottom because that's his vehicle. I don't know, because I've seen many things on the backs of vehicles where I've wanted to take a picture that I thought was ridiculous and post it on social media, but the license plate would be in the picture, and I've used better judgment and decided just not to post it. I don't know. Can you do that, or do you have to blur out somebody's license plate to do that?
I don't think you have to blur out someone's license plate because
I didn't know if that was...
it's in the public, right?
Well, yeah, but I didn't know by sharing that on social media.
That's fine.
If that's a no. I didn't know. So
no, I mean, if it's your license plate, you black it out.
Right.
If
you're saying this is my car, you black it out. But if it's somebody's else and you're in a parking lot, you can take a picture whatever you want.
Let me use a douchey corporate term. Best practices would be to black out the license plate.
I used to have an old programmer. When he would see a tweet that he didn't like from me, he'd call me into the office and he'd say, "What's the point of this? I mean, what does this accomplish?"
If I get one more email,
that's the worst,
that says, let's get an email out that shows best practices on how to do this. It's like, okay, enough.
Do you think corporate suits, and since you do hang with them,
yeah,
do you think that they understand that as soon as the rest of us see best practices in the subject line, most of us go delete?
Yeah.
Just because I'm not reading past the
Yes.
first three sentences, it's just not happening.
Yeah.
This is why a big corporation cannot hold Mary Walter down.
Exactly right.
She's like, damn the man, I'm doing it myself. Well, don't lie.
They can hold Mary Walters down, but not Mary Walter. The only thing that can stop Mary Walter is a bad access line. And this is about the time it happened yesterday. I can't imagine having to work in the corporate world in that department where your whole existence is focusing on the liability of a company. Like, oh my God, I can't live my life in fear and walking on eggshells. So I certainly couldn't do that professionally 40 hours a week.
Absolutely not. I worked for a radio company that shall remain nameless, and I worked from home.
sorry, I have something.
No. Actually, I worked from home.
Okay.
So, okay.
Sorry.
So I worked from home in talk radio, but I had to take all of these corporate courses online about music and about how many songs you could play by a certain artist in an hour and all this other stuff. And I wasn't paying any attention to it because I'm like, this is not my job. So, but nobody told me there was a quiz at the end. Yeah. So I had no idea. So I'm like, bam, 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 just clicking away through this. And I get to the end, I'm like, oh, there's a quiz. and I paid no attention. So I got to go back to the beginning and do the whole thing again. And I had to take like the active shooter drill. I'm like, I'm at home. Why do I have to do this?
Yeah.
But that's corporate America. That drives me crazy.
Greg, you might want to get a little Claritin for those
Sorry,
allergies
yeah,
over there.
I'm
That sneeze
sorry.
was violent.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Blow out an O-ring.
I forgot. What? By the way, we're streaming live on YouTube, youtube.com/ at 1210 WPHT. We're at 2.75. We've really ticked this up during the show.
Yeah,
Lots
we're
of
gonna
people tuning in.
hit 3,000 by the week's end.
Let's tick it up one more to you people tuning in late today. Where have you been? Let's take it up to 2.76 by 10:30. Have it by 10:30. 2.76. And if you're watching right now on YouTube, please hit the like button. And if you haven't hit the subscribe button, like, what are you waiting for?
Yeah.
Please smash the like button. Thank you, Trey.
You can do it right now because we are in.
We're in the middle of a segment.
We're in the middle of a segment. You've never, Mary. You've never had the Greg Stocker on-air meltdown.
No, he's probably on his best behavior, for the new girl.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be. I try to. I've had a few unprofessional outbursts since we've started Kayal Company.
Oh, man.
He's trying to lull me into a false sense of security.
Yes. So,
but when you're a part of a show and you don't come in right at 6 o'clock, there's a problem.
Yeah, I know, you go off. Speaking of unprofessional, how about this? And this will be the final story of the day. I mentioned this hotel that I did a remote for.
Yeah.
So in Nashville, the story comes out. Nashville hotel manager is charged after allegedly sucking on sleeping guests' toes.
Oh my God.
Oh God.
It's hot. I remember in the movie Road Trip where they're on the bus and that crazy creepy guy starts trying to suck on the girl's toe as she's asleep on the bus ride and she wakes up and freaks out. But this happened in real life. The manager of a downtown Nashville hotel, a Hilton, has been charged with aggravated burglary and assault after allegedly sucking on a male guest's toes.
I love you.
While he was sleeping.
I love you.
Oh, God. That was David Patrick Neal in our sound system there. Who is
For those of you who get that. And for those of you who don't, just move on.
Who is 52 and arrested on Friday after hotel guest Peter Brennan awoke around 5 a.m. on March 30th in the hotel room to find the night manager indulging his apparent foot fetish. According to local ABC affiliate WKRN, which I used to do TV hits on, Brennan has since filed a lawsuit against the hotel alleging sexual assault. The lawsuit alleges that Neal cloned the key to Brennan's room and entered during the early morning hours without knocking or announcing himself. And this man wakes up and all of a sudden he feels like a little tickle on his toe and he's got another man's face all over his feet.
Dude.
Now, when I was doing a sports morning show in Nashville in 2018 and 2019, we did remotes from this hotel that had an unbelievable independently owned little breakfast spot on the first floor. And we would do a remote there once a month. I have been on site in this hotel, gorgeous hotel. Don't know who the manager was. And no, I never had any of my toes sucked on during a commercial break. Nor was I asleep during a show and then had my toes sucked on as I was passed out cold. But this is a true story. And, so let's ask the question here.
No, do we have to?
Yeah, please.
If you were the person sleeping and you woke up to that, do you just beat the hell out of the guy?
Yes.
Well,
You scream?
First of all,
I mean, what do you do?
We met the one guy who doesn't put that extra lock on his door in a hotel, right? Like, doesn't everybody, you put like every lock that they possibly have on your door, right?
Three locks, always three locks. Yeah.
I feel like I'm in, like a walk up in New York because I'm like chunk, closing all the locks. So here's the one guy who will never make that mistake again. That's number one. Number two, as a chick, I am screaming to high holy heaven. Right? I am screaming. I'm banging on the walls. I am waking everyone up. And I did grow up with brothers, so if I have to, I probably could at least hurt him.
Yeah. I'm screaming like a girl, too. That's going to be the first reaction. And then once I come to my senses, I'm going to get, that guy's getting a right cross.
Yeah, you always go in, look, I'm nuts, so you don't have to do everything I do. Always put the three locks on the door. Turn up the mattress. Look at the mattress. Take it off of the bed spring and just make sure there's no bed bugs or any crap underneath there. And search the room for cameras.
Okay,
that's all I'm saying. That's how it's fun traveling with me.
Stalker Hotel Protocol.
Wow.
SHP for short.
Yeah, can we just talk about the guy who did this, which I am so skeeved by this right now. I'm like, I'm not having breakfast.
That's why I saved it for 9:40.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Because when I read this, I was like, oh, dear Lord, please don't let us do this early in the show. Like the entire act, how strong is your weird perversion that you clone the key, you get into the hotel room.
Yeah.
You assume that, A, he's not up early. Okay.
Right.
Right. And he said he went in to check the fire alarm that supposedly went off, or a smoke alarm, whatever. I think people would know if that happened.
Right.
But this is a stranger's feet.
Yeah.
Ew, even like someone who's not a stranger, shoes were made for a reason, because feet in general, like, unless you have just scrubbed those puppies in Clorox, no, I wouldn't think about putting one in my mouth. Ew, 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 ew.
I mean, I knew foot fetishes were a thing. I just didn't know the levels to which people would go to get their fix. Like, if this guy would have done this in Ohio with a retired bus driver, our favorite old lady, you would have heard her say something like this.
My foot's gonna be so far up your it's gonna dangle out your damn nose.
Yes.
Can you imagine this guy in jail at the police station? What are you in for?
Sucking toes.
A dude I don't know's toes. Oh.
I had a hankering for some toenail.
There are.
Okay, stop. I can't.
Toe cheese.
So
toe cheese.
Yeah, toe cheese.
There are people that are super into feet. Like, super into feet.
Yeah.
You know, that's true, because I do watch 90 Day Fiancé. And
nice.
I do love that show, because it makes me, when every time I'm questioning my life's choices, I just watch that. I could have made worse choices. But there are some of them on that show who apparently have OnlyFans accounts, and it's just their feet. And they're pulling in like lots of money.
How does that sound?
Sounds disgusting.
But if it's just pictures, if you're just taking pictures of your feet and they're your feet,
right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm thinking it kind of like sounds like an easy gig, right?
Yeah.
You get up, you wash your feet, you take a picture, you're done for the day.
Yes.
I'm gonna. I should. I was gonna say something.
Oh, please do. Could it get worse than it
has
been so far?
People. All right. Let me just. People. Some people I've seen use feet instead of hands.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, is this the point in the show where my connection drops, please?
Yeah. This is where your access falls off.
Please.
And with that being said, 9:44. Let's get out of this and into the cut sheet part 2.
What's on the cut sheet?
Part 2. What's on the cut sheet part 2 on this Tuesday is sponsored by Holland Floor Covering. Holland Floor Covering is the region's premier flooring dealer, family operated for over 50 years, providing exceptional service and professional installation. Visit their 2 showrooms in Wayne and Newtown. No charge samples, no obligation estimates. Learn more at hollandfloor.com, HOLLAND, hollandfloor.com. Thank you, Holland Floor, for sponsoring What's on the Cut Sheet Part 2. This morning, Nick, Mary, while we were gabbing, Joe Scarborough on the Morning Joe programs had John Fetterman on.
No.
Big interview with John Fetterman, Joe Scarborough. Doing all the hard-hitting interviews. He did this CBS Sunday Morning puff piece where she was like, well, clearly you've conquered all this. Is a run for president next? Let's hear some of the hard-hitting questions that Joe asked our Pennsylvania senator here.
Did you get inspiration from people like Lincoln and Churchill who struggled with depression their whole lives and yet...
Can we just give him like a Medal of Valor right now? Good God Almighty! The guy's been in office for 19 weeks.
Oh my God!
And he's only been there
for 6 of them or something. It's just God.
No.
They are so driven to elevate this guy as an inspirational comeback story.
Yep.
Oh, my God.
I feel for him because of what he's going through, but he never should have run for office. Right?
And once he got past the recovery period, which they say is about 6 months, and then you're going to be what you are, and that's what you're going to end up maxing out in your recovery, they should have realized, you know what? This guy probably is not fit to serve. Let's pivot away from this. But no, they'll drag him to the finish line.
Right, because this is the insidiousness of the Democrats.
Yep.
Anything for power, and we will abuse you, etc. Anything for power. But he's in for the ride. He's getting great health care, courtesy of the taxpayers, right?
Yep.
He's making money. The worst part of his day is when he has to put on a tie, like an actual adult clothing, to go to work. That's the worst part of his day.
Yeah, same
and
for me,
she's
actually.
loving this. I think she is loving this.
Yeah. Giselle.
Yes, Giselle. That's it. I couldn't think of her name. Yeah, I think Giselle is totally digging this new gig.
Boys in the back, I'm going to start this clip over again. Here we go.
Did you get inspiration from people like Lincoln and Churchill who struggled with depression their whole lives and yet fought through it and changed the world?
I would say there's almost kind of like a nobility to it, like what we're suffering. There's some nobility to that, or and so maybe something it toughens you up or whatever, but it didn't toughen me up. In fact, it nearly ruined me, and I know it put my family through a lot of pain.
All right. I mean, I've been critical of, the way his speech has been. That one relatively clean for the most part. Uncomfortable laugh there. Oh, that's a trademark of the left these days. Kamala has the same mid-sentence uncomfortable laugh as well. But relatively speaking, not bad right there.
Liz Cheney releasing an ad. Is she running for president?
Is she still a thing?
Is she? I'm sorry. Is Liz Cheney running for president?
Who?
Not to my knowledge.
This is the ad that she released criticizing Trump. Shocking.
New Hampshire waking up to here today.
Donald Trump is the only president in American history who has refused to guarantee the peaceful transfer of power.
Joe Biden
he lost the election and he knew it.
To become the president.
He betrayed millions of Americans by telling them the election was stolen.
Stop the steal.
He ignored the rulings of dozens of courts. Rather than accept his defeat, he mobilized a mob to come to Washington and march on the Capitol. Then he watched on television while the mob attacked law enforcement, invaded the Capitol, and hunted the vice president. He refused for 3 hours to tell the mob to leave. There has never been a greater dereliction of duty by any president. Trump was warned repeatedly that his plans for January 6th were illegal. He didn't care. And today, he celebrates those who attacked our Capitol. Donald Trump has proven he is unfit for office. Donald Trump is a risk America can never take again.
So is that a campaign ad for Liz Cheney, or is that just an op-ed piece? Though, I mean, that's the question, right? Like, what is the point of is that just like a video blurb, or does she have some career agenda behind this?
It's apparently paid for by greatask.com.
Greatask.com.
Whatever that is. I'm sure it's some.
You gotta be careful how you say that one
I
as
was
well.
going to say ASK, right?
Right.
Okay.
Don't log on to greatask.com in a work computer.
Do not put that in your search bar. So I want to know who's paying her. She was probably paid to make that. It's just a hit piece on Trump. She's her father's daughter.
Yep.
Yeah. That's a good point.
That.
All right,
she's unemployed too.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, Greatask.com. We'll come back and wrap it up with Who on Twitter today and what is on tap for the Dawn Show with Mike Opelka in for Dawn. We'll do that coming up next.
Hey, it's Rich Zioli. Every once in a while, you come across a deal that you can't pass up. And if you live in an older home, you'll want to listen up. I've told you how USA Insulation completely changed how my home feels. I've told you how it's paid for itself in energy savings. And if you haven't had your home insulation upgraded yet, I'm here to tell you that now is the time. The discounts are bigger than they've ever been. This month, during National Home Improvement Month, you can get free install labor. You pay for the foam. USA Insulation will install it for free. Plus, there's an energy credit that puts up to $1,200 back in your pocket. You got to take advantage of this before the summer heat. They can insulate almost any type of home, including brick homes. Over 100,000 homeowners can't be wrong, including me. 1-800-USA-FOAM. That's 1-800-USA-FOAM or usainsulation.net, usainsulation.net.
Pennsylvanians who work or volunteer with children may need to get their child abuse clearances. If you're not sure, first go to this website, keepkidssafe.pa.gov. Second, find out if you need clearances. Then, apply online. Getting clearances is easier and less expensive than ever. Pennsylvania means business when it comes to protecting our children. Find out if you need your child abuse clearances at keepkidssafe.pa.gov.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Tamara Green, a.k.a. Strawberry, was a beautiful, young, exotic dancer and mother of three who was gunned down months after she was connected to a wild party at the Detroit mayor's mansion. The party's rumor, her murderous fact. Who Killed Strawberry is Odyssey's riveting new true crime podcast. 20 years later, Who Killed Strawberry is still a mystery, although there are lots of theories about why she was killed. Was it connected to the party, to a grudge, or to something else? Listen on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
It was the day we all feared. The stock market went down and then kept going.
2008, when the markets lost over 50% of their value. But that was over a decade ago. Today, it's not so painful. Jim Cipriotti at Retire Ready Financial Group calls that financial amnesia. When you forget the pain of losing half your savings, and more importantly, ignore the fact that it can happen again. A complimentary consultation from Retire Ready Financial Group can show you where you stand now before the next market pullback. You're much closer to retirement than you were in 2008. Don't let it happen again. Call Jim Cipriotti at 610-894-7415 for a complimentary consultation. That's 610-894-7415 or online at retirereadyfg.com. You can forget where you put your keys, your glasses, or even your car. Don't forget to protect your retirement.
Investment advisory services offered through Retire Ready Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through James V. Cipriotti, NPN number 2083768.
Listen on your schedule. Anytime. Just go to 1210 WPHT on the Odyssey app and search the Kayal Company podcasts.
Kayal Company 953 as we wind it down here on a Tuesday. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. We'll find who won Twitter in just a moment. But right now, we check in with my buddy, the great Mike Opelka, who will be in for Dawn today, coming up in 6 minutes. A man who's willing to give me a $300 or $400 golf shaft absolutely free.
Yeah.
And I capitalized. I played well with it this past weekend, Michael.
I saw the scorecard. Quite impressive. I might need to delay our match for another couple of months so I can take some lessons.
All right.
I don't have that much money. You know,
All right.
It's a little terrifying, but I also will investigate the veracity of that scorecard
That's
to make
true.
sure.
Right.
It's true. Now, today on the Dawn Show, where I'm identifying as Dawn Stensland, yes, it's going to be all kinds of craziness. Not as crazy as saying that that Kennedy was killed by the CIA, like I may have heard earlier.
Right,
But
right.
did you know that Lee Harvey Oswald was involved in a government plot to use the original polio vaccine, which was highly carcinogenic, and they were going to try and inject it into Fidel Castro?
No.
Really?
There's a book called Dr. Mary's Monkey. No relation to Mary.
Right.
But Dr. Mary's Monkey, it's an incredible true story that everybody needs to pick up if you're looking for beach reading. Dr. Mary's Monkey. It tells the tale of how This cat was involved in a government plot to take the first polio vaccine was highly carcinogenic.
Wow.
And the government said, well, let's fix that, but let's weaponize this, and let's find a way to stick it into Castro's arm.
Did they flatten the curve, though?
Well, they flattened everything in Lee Harvey Oswald's world, if you know your history. But yeah, that's just a little sidebar. Today, we have Gordon Chang, the great Gordon Chang, going to talk about what's happening with China. And my buddy Jim Stovall, who was on track to be an Olympic athlete, and then he lost his sight, has 10 incredible tips. It's a little inspiration on Tuesday because we need it.
What time is Gordon Chang, Mr. Opelka?
He will be here around 10:30.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Could you have Joe Biden voice that promo with Gordon Chang's name so he'll say it so beautifully?
Oh, it's going to be, yes, we're doing Joe Biden butchers the English language again. Kareem Abdul-Algebra, or whatever he called him, to the Asian
Al
woman.
Jazeera.
Yeah, it's just amazing. Why do they give him a teleprompter if he can't read it, you know?
I wouldn't give him a microphone either.
I'd love to see Biden versus Al Sharpton reading a teleprompter.
Yeah, who would win that one?
Yeah. All right, Mike, have a good show, and I'll be listening on the way home, buddy.
Thank you. Hit him straight.
You got
Break a leg.
Mike Opelka coming up at 10 o'clock as we wrap it up with Who Won Twitter Today.
Who Won Twitter?
Who Won Twitter Today brought to you by Catholic Philly. Stay up to date with the latest Catholic news by signing up for Catholic Philly's weekly newsletter containing local, national, and world Catholic news, inspiring feature stories, and more. Each week, direct to your email box. Visit CatholicPhilly.com to learn more. CatholicPhilly.com. Johnny, Utah's ex-college roommate, wins Twitter. He says, imagine a remake of 12 Angry Men, now titled 1 cis men, 3 women, 5 people of color, 1 trans, 1 bi, and 1 G.
Yes. It'd be a box office hit.
That's funny.
Then the trailer will be sponsored by Bud Light. All right, nice work out of Johnny. Good stuff out of him. Mary, thank you very much. Great job the last 2 days. Not bad for a Villanova girl.
Oh,
well, you know, I try. I aspire to be as polished as a Temple grad.
Trust me. The only thing polished is my head.
Yeah,
that's about it.
No. Thank you, guys.
All right,
you made it easy.
You
Appreciate
filled in
it.
beautifully.
Great stuff.
Fit into this nut house
yes.
easily.
It's not easy to assimilate in a zoo.
When you start this show at 10, give me a call.
Until then, lose the number.
Yeah, fair point.
All right, that'll do it. Mike Opelka is up next, so we'll be back tomorrow morning at 6. Dawn will be back in the saddle. She'll do the news, and I'll just comment on it with the way it's supposed to be. Until then, bye-bye.
Good night, everybody.